Nothing on this show is authorized by the Food and Drug Administration, and nothing said here is intended to treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any disease. Contact your physician before starting a diet or exercise regimen, including supplementation. This is not medical advice and is for entertainment purposes only.
How many seconds do we have before we're in trouble?
Enter Batman.
Welcome, Batman.
Fuck yeah. I love that.
Some may call him Hartman.
I call him Morphogen.
Yeah.
He's a man of many names.
I've been called Morphogen Ben in person so many times in the last 7 years.
Did Justin Supplement Snoop give you that name?
No. That was what I avoided Instagram for the longest time. And when I finally did it, I just used that as my handle. And
It does rhyme.
everybody called me that. I'd be at Chipotle and some dude would come and be like, "Hey, you're Morphogen Ben." I'd be like, "It's actually just Ben."
Yeah.
But thanks. I mean, yeah, you can just call me Ben. That's my name. You know.
Why Morphogen?
So.
There's literal meaning.
Well, and there is. So I don't do anything haphazardly, and I'm certainly not a gimmicks guy. I didn't want a bullshit word with a labs. I don't have a lab. I didn't want labs with a Z in my name. And so it was a combination of not just what the words meant, but also what is available. Because, you know, between food, supplement, and medicine, every fucking name and word out there is used by somebody or owned somewhere. So morpho and gen literally means create change. And a morphogen compound is a compound that tells cells to undergo a specific reaction or a specific change. And at the time that I came up with the company, it was, you know, we're talking 12, 13 years ago. This was the proprietary blends, the wild marketing claims, all the, you know, the wild Arnold giveaways and all the nonsense. And I just hated every fucking piece of all of that. And I was like, something needs to change. And it just poof, just came into my head.
I think that's such a great thing that you were highly motivated by spite.
I mean, it was a combination of things. You know, it's like I had this background in so many things only related to fitness and nutrition and couldn't do anything else. You know, it's like jack of all trades, master of none. I was the polar opposite of that. I couldn't do anything, but I excelled at everything that I did in this one narrow path. And the more that I gained experience in different things and, you know, got a master's and taught and was sponsored by a company and wrote for some magazines and worked at trade shows and I did some consulting and helped some companies formulate some stuff and was given a lot of contacts. I was like, this is all leading to this one spot that it was a combination of spite based on all the shit that I had to, you know, put up with my former sponsor, but also this sort of, my whole life needs to change right now. I'm on the wrong path. This is something that I can tangibly see myself doing. This isn't service-based. I did not want to coach anymore. I was doing a lot of online coaching back in the day before that was like a thing, and I absolutely dreaded every second of
I can imagine.
Coaching and training, personal training that I did all those years. I hated every second of it.
Why? Because it's like superficial, or
It's like you're reading the same first page of the book over and over again.
repetition?
But repetition without excitement and without progress and without novelty. It's literally the same fucking page over and over again for people that don't care. And
Or whiny babies.
whiny babies, especially in the training game back in the day. It was like I was this wealth of knowledge, and I was very much a full-ass guy. I wasn't going to half-ass anything. I'm going to full-ass it or no-ass it. And these people don't understand that. And so for me, it's like every little teeny bit that would optimize the situation, I would consider it. And that's not how these people think. And I just could not relate. And I saw a lot of these just dumb bimbo personal trainers just crushing it. And I was financially struggling because I couldn't force people to do sessions if I didn't feel that they needed more just because I needed to pay my bills. It just felt disingenuous. And I was all about the education component, but not the longevity component of keeping them as a client. You know, it's like if you educate them enough and are a good enough trainer, eventually they don't need you and then they don't pay your bills. So,
Well, I mean, you're teaching people to fish, and then so many of those people just want to buy the fish from the blonde bimbo.
correct.
It's just the situation of it.
Yeah, so it was just a perfect storm of all the things that I had been doing and the educational component of things that I'd been involved with at the university and getting my master's degree and working with supplement researchers through my graduate program and being mentored by those guys and working for the supplement company. I was like, I should do this. I bet you I could do this. And then it was I've always kind of been known as like this anti-marketing guy because it was, for me, when I started it was very much like if I make something that works better, like
It should speak for itself.
if it works better, but the label represents, the why it should work better, and I can back that up with science and also explanation as to why these things all come together and explain to people how my thought processes worked in developing this product, then at least some people are going to get it. And if they get it and they get it, you know what I mean? Like they're not going to be swayed by some bullshit. And then they're going to tell everybody they know. And out of those people, a few of them will get it. And eventually this whole effect will snowball. And it did.
Till TikTok showed up.
That's a very
honestly,
that's a really, how do I put this? It's a heroic way of thinking of this, but like it's a difficult way. It's a very long-term play.
Well,
it's not a short-term play.
And for me, I wasn't even looking at it long-term. I was looking at
you don't win in the short term unless you have a huge. I was looking at
what felt like the right thing to do. And I know that sounds so cliche, but you mentioned the heroic way. For me, it was very much like, what is the thing that I believe in the most? Mm-hmm. Not what I think I should do, is what I think is the right decision to make. Mm-hmm. And I truly believed that if you explain your thoughts to people in a concise way and it's logical and it's backed up by experience, some of those people will understand, they will believe you, and they will buy into whatever you are discussing. And that has held true in so many facets of my life, not just creating product, but everything I've done that has rocked the boat a little bit has been very good. I don't want to say persuasive because that's not my goal. My goal is to explain when asked a question. And by way of explaining, some people understand my thought processes and they buy in. And it literally, up until the TikTok thing, and I got kicked off Instagram a couple years ago.
Oh, no.
I shared some...
you get kicked off Facebook quite often.
I got kicked off, logged out of Instagram, unable to log back into my old account because I shared a peer-reviewed research article that suggested natural immunity to be as good or better than vaccinated immunity. And the next day I couldn't log into my account.
Well, then they changed definitions of immunity.
And a vaccine, and the whole nonsense shit. But I mean, up until that point came, we literally, in 10 years, more than doubled over the previous year in a perfect upwards curve.
Nice.
With no anything. I was posting casually.
No gimmicks.
Well, and no advertising, no nothing. I wasn't running analytics on anything. I was posting arbitrarily on social media on my own personal account whenever I felt like it. There was no strategy behind it. It was just come out with the products that I want at the pace that I want to, and as we get more money, come out with more products and talk to more people about it, and it just kept going.
That's kind of an anomaly, though. I mean, from my perspective, no one really does that. Like, you got to have a gimmick. You got to have some sort of profession. Like, either you're a good ad guy, or you're a good marketing guy, or you're a person who knows a lot of people on the sales side. Independent retail. FDM. Like, something. Someone. You got some sort of pocket aces. You know what I mean? Like,
I always felt that there was room for another piece of that pie.
Yeah.
The meritocracy piece.
A tiny piece of people that give a shit about what it means.
Yes. Tell us about your first product, because I want to go. You said it was how long ago? It was back in.
So I came up with the idea of the company in June of 2011. We formed the Articles of Incorporation and had the first run of the first product.
And Alphagen, the pre-workout, was the first one.
Yep. In September of 2011, and we consider 2012 to be our first official sales year.
Okay.
And, playing off the company name and what it meant, all the products that I came up with right out of the gate all had a meaning to it. So Alpha was our first product. It was the leader of our brand. I felt that it was a leader to this change in the industry that I foresaw it happening. So it was very much like a leader of change, Alphagen. That's where I came up with the name to that. And we literally came out with one flavor, a very minimum amount of product that these days you can't even make that many units. Manufacturers only allow you to make that few. And there was no game plan. It was, I'm going to do this, and if I can sell half of these off in 6 months and make my investment back,
there you go.
It bombs, I have enough pre-workout to last me for 2 years, and I feel like I did something right.
So do you remember the original formula?
What was the original formula? The original formula was, what was it? It was citrulline, creatine, beta-alanine, taurine, somewhere in the 2 to 3 gram range, I think, on all of those. There was 50 milligrams of DMAA. There was 300 milligrams of caffeine. There was
Remember when I made my first TMA?
I don't remember. I don't remember the dose. We had phenylethylamine in there. There was something else. I don't remember. There was something else in there for cognition, but I don't recall.
You told me that like you basically made up the decision to completely uproot your entire life within a 2-day period, and you just changed everything. Your profession,
yes.
Where you lived, some of your personal,
I changed
preferences,
everything, or at least got the ball rolling.
Yeah,
we did the thing that you do. You buy the house, you get the dog, you have the neighborhood thing, you hang out with your friends, and we did the thing, and it just felt terrible. Felt like I was living somebody else's life, and a combination of that plus the frustration with a former sponsor with some of the products that they were coming out with, especially proprietary blended shit that I was, tasked with promoting, that I was like, how can I promote this if it's garbage and I don't know the doses? Like I have too much integrity to promote this product. I cannot do this. But also at my former career, my immediate supervisor, we were all very overworked and underpaid. And her youngest daughter called the babysitter mom, and she had a nervous breakdown and walked in the next day and quit. And I go, how are we going to pay your bills? And she goes, well, and we're all teaching part-time to supplement our income. She goes, I'm going to pick up 2 more classes and just do all the childcare myself, and we're going to net more. And I was like, oh my God, that's what I need to do, because we're going down the same path of no money in savings, no forward growth in our careers, no ability to make more money. We had a house that I fucking hated that was at the top of our budget, and tried to, and I was like, that's going to be me. How am I even going to have a kid and put this kid in daycare? Like, I'm never going to be able to afford it. I don't want to coach. What can I do to at least supplement the income of my wife, who always made more money back, for forever, basically. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I should start a supplement company. And there was a number of conversations around other things in our personal life, for a while. This wasn't like I came up with this genius idea out of nowhere and told my wife that we're doing these wild things. Like, we had discussed these things for a while, but basically there was a 2-day stint that I had a little bit of mania, and I stayed home from work for 2 days and didn't sleep. And I came up with the company, and I came up with the first 10 products and got all the domains and all the names registered, and decided that we were going to eventually move to a better city. And I decided that I should sign us up on a swinger website.
This episode is brought to you by our good friends over at Lost and Found Energy Drink. Lost and Found has just blown up in the marketplace as of recently. They're also a big international brand. Well, we helped them design their cans, which was a great experience for us here at Nutrimedia. But really, what I want to talk about mostly about these guys, one is that they're just absolutely delicious. It's at 150 milligrams, which is like the perfect amount for me, but all the flavors absolutely kill. If you haven't tried these yet, you absolutely need to. They're starting to pop up everywhere. You can get them at Walmart. I think we got these new cans at Walmart. You can also buy them at Vitamin Shop. They're absolutely delicious. They're easy drinkers. They come in multiple flavors. The branding's awesome, and the people that are behind it are absolutely incredible. Some of my favorite people on the planet. One of our absolute OG brands when we started Nutrimedia. It's been with us since early days of Nutrimedia. Can't say enough about these people behind this brand and this product. They sponsor this podcast. They give us these drinks for every single one. And I think you guys would really enjoy trying them if you haven't yet. And if you have, just go double down, go buy some more, go tag them at Found Energy. If you can, go and get you some Lost and Found. And thank you guys over at LNF. Fast and loud.
Nice. All at the same time, yeah.
All within 48 hours.
Probably even less than that, yeah. And so at the end of that, my wife was like, hey, how are you doing? I was like, great. Guess what? I'm going to start a supplement company. I need all of our money in savings, and I don't know how I'm going to sell it, but I think it's a thing. I feel good about this.
Did you sell your house too?
Well, eventually we had to get rid of the house. This was sort of a long play after this.
Yeah.
Just because I decided we were doing it doesn't mean we were doing it that day.
Yeah.
You got to come up with the money.
The company was the first piece of that. And then there was sort of as that was growing enough that it justified me quitting that job. It's like, well, if I'm quitting this job and going all in on this, why are we living here? And so
time to cut back.
Yeah, and so she got a lateral move, but with a hefty salary increase, moving down to Columbus, which we loved Columbus.
That's awesome.
Columbus is like the nicest part.
And it gave us
Ohio to me.
Well, coming from Northeast Ohio, it just felt like a dead end up there. It felt like there was a gray cloud over everything, and nobody wants to do anything beyond what they did when they got out of school.
I mean, I think that's a permanent cloud over Northeast Ohio.
At least you have youth there. There's like young people that come in, and there's it's for 4 years.
But there's no growth, and I felt that to the core of everything that I was doing, and I just felt trapped. And I was like, we need to get out of this trap. And so
did life feel like programmatic to you, like you're part of like a matrix of some sort, like a
yes. And like I was the only one that was aware that I was trapped in this system that I was like.
You got red pill, huh?
Well, the thing is, I've always had these thoughts. Even as a kid, it's like, why do I have to do that? Well, because, man, that's what people do. I was like, but why? Well, because you have to. I said, that's a bullshit answer. There's no universal truth to this. I don't fucking have to do anything. Mm-hmm. And I've always felt that way. And only as I got older and had a little bit more, power over my own, autonomy, could I act on that. Mm-hmm. And that was the big jump that we needed.
That was the snap that you caught.
Yeah.
It was like, it was building up. It was building up. And then just one day.
I was ready to pop. And that's where it came from,
You chose to jump into another dimension. I think there's a lot of people out there that suffer with the same thing. Die.
She was like, let's go.
It's funny. We always joke that I'm the rocket ship and she's an anchor. And without each other, she'd be at the bottom of the ocean doing nothing, and I'd be off in outer space doing nothing, and I'd be alone. And so we're a good sort of yin and yang balance in that respect.
I enjoy work.
There was, there were a lot of, oddball things here and there that she always pushed back on a little bit, justifiably so. But when I said I want to start a company, I need all of our money, she's like, okay, I believe in you. And so I drained our granted, we didn't have any money, but the money that we did have, I drained our savings account down to $10.62.
Oh, wow.
And it was there for
How many units did you do in the first run?
100 units.
Perfect.
Which you can't even make now.
No.
That's a waste of time.
But that's what we did. And I basically went to the gym and gave a bunch of people a serving to try, and they all immediately bought it.
Oh, of course.
And this was pre-Instagram era, so I was relatively well known on the message boards back in the day.
Yeah.
That's how I initially networked with guys like John Meadows and Justin Harris and Shelby Starnes and Ken Hill and all these guys. Pre-social media explosion.
God, the forums were so big.
You were a professional bodybuilder, though.
Well, so I eventually earned a natural pro card, and I competed once in that, but I wasn't heavily pursuant of that. I did compete in mostly drug-tested NPC shows. Mm-hmm. I know that seems a bit of an oxymoron, but there's a really good natural bodybuilding show in Cleveland twice a year that has existed for 25 years. That was an anomaly. That was like the hugest show in the area with incredible talent. And I grew up 45 minutes from it. So that was the show that I dove into, and then eventually was exposed to the actual natural bodybuilding orgs that were at the time big. Now it's, who cares? And went down that path and did pretty well. And I made it very much a name for myself on the boards early on with my, not just the knowledge that I had, but again, my ability to explain my thoughts. And that was kind of the biggest thing. And also, like, as a natural bodybuilder, I was pretty fucking good. I was a big dude. I was fucking shredded. And people were like, there's no way you're natural. You're huge. I was like, you guys train like pussies. And and also like genetics, there's some genetics there. Like I'm not a small dude. So yeah. So
you had a little bit of clout kind of going, just a little bit.
I had a pretty good amount of clout. And this is again like pre-influencer era.
Yeah.
Clout. This was early Facebook days. And Facebook did get a lot more traction. So I would share a lot of very, polarizing thoughts on a number of topics on Facebook and get like thousands of comments on these posts and shit. That doesn't happen now, but there was a lot of that. And I also had this report from the message boards, and I was sponsored by this supplement company for 5 years and did the trade show network with them and wrote for them a little bit. I wrote for a couple of magazines. And so I had already gotten my foot in the door in the industry in some capacity.
It's not like you came in completely green.
Well, no, and even how I got some of my early contacts in manufacturing and labeling was through consulting with a friend, helping him develop a line that was his in-house line for his family's chain of stores.
Yeah.
And that's how I was given all those contacts. And it's funny now looking back at this where, manufacturers are advertising on social media now. And back in the day, this was like closely guarded, industry secrets. And I would have people all the time be like, hey man, I want to do what you do. Like, can you give me some of your contacts? And I'm like, you want to create a company that is going to compete with my company, and you want me to give you all the information that I earned over years of giving free information out. Go fuck yourself. No, I'm not giving you these contacts. No.
I don't want to compete with you.
Yeah.
Well, especially when, they're not going to have, well, I mean, I don't know. It could go one way or the other. Either they have no executive function, they could embarrass you to all your contacts, or they could just like making a complete dud brand that just isn't going to go anywhere. And it's like, how did sharing those contacts help either of you?
Even if none of that was a factor, I earned those contacts.
Yeah.
You do not have access to them. But on principle, that is wrong, and I'm not going to do that. It doesn't matter where you go with it. I don't care. It's wrong.
It's a completely different philosophy now. Now you just sell it.
Well, the thing is,
if the price is right, I'll tell you.
Things are so different now, not just with access of information and social media, targeted ads on all these things, but there is a lot more of a communal networking aspect with sort of, like-minded people. I remember talking to Chris Waldron a couple of years ago, when we all first met each other at that thing. And I was like, it's like this collective of good guys that's going against the 80% conglomerate of all the terrible shit in this industry. And I was like, it's good to be one of the good guys. You can't be the lone wolf, because even if by some chance you were the lone wolf and you were doing things the best way, which is probably not likely, but even if that were the case, nobody else is going to believe you. You're just the asshole, and you're going to be ostracized by somebody. So it's good to be supported.
It's very true.
In a like-minded group of people where it's like, oh yeah, these are the good guys right here, and they all like each other and they like each other's stuff. Like, I'm going to buy from them because even as a brand owner, I'm first and foremost a consumer. And I always approached all my decisions as to how I make products and how I market products and whatever I'm doing as somebody that buys products. And so I'm like, would I buy this if somebody else made it? Would I buy it because of the way somebody else described it? And if I can't do that, then I don't know how I'm supposed to do it myself.
Right.
And I like buying other people's shit. I mean, I like trying stuff. I like new ingredients and flavors.
We did this earlier when we went to Vitamin Shop. Just going around and be like, what's this person got? What's this person got?
Yeah. I mean, at one point in time, I had a whole cabinet full of Inspired and Ghost and Glaxon and, all kinds of core stuff. Yeah, of course I did.
Just depends.
I'm a curious boy.
Sometimes you just be like, okay, I feel like this today.
But now you've replaced them all with your own concoctions. You guys have quite a few SKUs.
Do you know how many times I bought a product from another company and tried one serving and was like, fuck this product? But I'm glad I tried it.
Yeah.
I needed to try it, but like, I'm not going to use it.
I've had plenty of those. Or you expect the flavor to be like out of this world and you're just like,
it gets hyped up so much.
There's been good.
There's been a number of those, especially some of the collabed flavors over the years that get so much hype. And I try it. I'm like, everybody thinks this is good. Everybody thinks this tastes like that thing. This doesn't taste like that thing.
I feel the same way about those. Like, because the thing that it's supposed to taste like usually is loaded with sugar. You just can't replace sugar with
even if you
sweeteners.
just added, you can a little bit. I mean, if you were to add 50 more milligrams of sucralose to that thing, it would be a lot closer than it was. Like, I'm like, this is supposed to be really sweet, and this is terrible.
I've seen it.
But I had to try it. I had to try it. But yeah, so now, we started the company with one SKU, and it took us, I don't know, at least 6 months to come out with another SKU, and at least 6 months to come out with another one, and then the effect kind of snowballed. And then there was a period of time, somewhere over the last maybe 4 or 5 years, where we had, maybe 17, 18 SKUs, and within a year, I was up to like 70.
Wow.
Yeah, it gets problematic at a certain point.
Are you like addicted to making stuff?
Yeah, I was. Not anymore. It was this whole thing that, like, if I can do it,
Is this a result from success or just your own curiosity?
It was a little bit of both of those, and also
conquest,
and also a little bit of that, and also a little bit of ego, and also a little bit of fulfillment, and a little bit of all the things where it's like, okay, so if I were to want a product like this in this category, how would I want it to be done? If nobody's doing it because they can't do it, because they have these wholesale distribution models, which I didn't have. And I go, so if I'm the one that can do it, and I believe that this can be done, then I owe it to myself to do it. And I would make that decision with no consideration on sales channels or how this would work because I was like, I have to do it.
Did you have anything that was ever like a dud? That's just
a number of products. And I didn't even realize that until we went through the rebrand a few years ago. And when we actually went through data, I was like, oh man, these are terrible decisions. Well, terrible business decisions. Oh yeah. And I had no idea.
And it could be that the category just doesn't move all that much. You know, it might not be
could be a trend at that time, could be anything. I mean, we had a meal replacement powder that I thought was incredible, and the formula was incredible, and it tasted amazing. And it only after looking at data after a couple of years, I was like, two of those flavors took well over a year to move.
Yeah.
And then, post COVID, there was a lot of, changes in raw material supply and cost, but also a lot of the manufacturers were raising their MOQs. I'm like, shit, if this thing takes me a year to sell and they just doubled their MOQs and they expire after 2 years, I'm going to buy this and it's going to sit on the shelf. It's a low margin product. I'm not going to even see my own return back on what I spent on it for a year and a half, and then it's going to be expired. This is a terrible decision. Mm-hmm. So I had to cut them. But, ultimately you cut that stuff because it's dead weight, but at the same time, it's still technically a net positive when you look at data over the course of time. And so some of our numbers came down. Even though we were operating more efficiently, it was still less profit. But I was not in a place that I could double those MOQs on dead weight products over a long period of time. So there were a lot of decisions that we had to make on how you operate a company efficiently, which I was not good at doing. I'm still not great at doing it, but that went against the very reason that I created the company and created those products to begin with. And now I was forced to do it because, when things are plentiful and everything's rolling deep in front of you, it's easy to get caught up in that. And then as soon as there's a deficit and one bad month or one spike in ingredient costs, and it's like, oh, we're fucked if I don't fix these business mistakes.
Right.
And we've kind of been in half cleanup mode and half progress mode for the last, 2-3 years.
Mm-hmm. With like rebranding, new SKUs,
cost of raw is changing,
some consolidation of SKUs and things like that.
Yeah. FDA compliance stuff with labels and, it's gotta have little lines on the labels. Well, I guess that's cool. I guess we're gonna be out of stock for 3 months then while we get this whole
label thing.
These lines put on the fucking
lines.
labels.
Yeah. I think we actually saw that like years ago. We were like, man, no lines.
And I remember seeing Ben's products for the first time and I'm like, there's no fucking way he's selling this to retailers.
But you weren't.
Well, for the most part, I wasn't. We had very lightly dabbled with some wholesale stuff here and there as sort of this temptation,
This is like independent retail where it probably doesn't matter that much anyways.
It's never mattered. And the only reason that we opened this up in the last year at first was to dip into slower moving inventory stuff that, we had 26 weeks worth instead of 16 or 12 weeks worth of stuff. And it's like, make that available to move this so I can get into the next batch, especially turning over labels, especially turning over formulas. Mm-hmm. That was very important to offload stuff faster than what it was moving because, yes, we are a much larger company than we were in the beginning, but I still don't have the capacity to buy thousands and thousands of units of every SKU. And so, and some of these products, some of them just don't move that fast. Yes, it's still a net gain at the end of the year, but it's like one minimum batch might take a year. And if I all of a sudden have to change something, I'm fucked if that thing doesn't move. So we slowly open up that and have been exploring that as sort of its own arm of the company without dipping into direct inventory, which has always been the primary component.
So you're doing all your own R&D yourself. We know that. Like you're the lead formulator. You put together the whole...
don't get me wrong. I talk to a lot of people.
I'm sure.
I'm not in a vacuum. But I handle all that myself.
Okay, what about sales?
What about them?
Do you do them too?
What do you mean sales? What does that even...
Like wholesale or direct to consumers?
Like, are you talking to wholesalers?
No.
Are you working with like you do a lot of direct to consumer, right?
Who talks to Steve Calabrese?
Yeah.
So I talk to them sometimes, but we have our operations guy, and he's the one that handles all the intake of wholesale accounts. We make them apply and give all this information, the VIN numbers and whatever these things are. These whatever the fucking to prove that they're not just buying wholesale shit to keep it cheap. And then depending on what we have, we accept them or not. And then depending on what we have, so we have a wholesale page on our site that's a password protected page, and we update the inventory weekly based on our rolling inventory numbers based on our direct sales.
Oh, so you let your website do a lot of that work?
We don't do any of it.
Jeez, that's incredible.
But
dude.
we're not doing huge numbers either. I mean, this is like a small percent.
I know,
of,
but you've been able to create revenue for your family and a small group of people, kind of like we have here at Nutrimedia, enough to say like, hey, these people can live off of this. Plus yourself.
Yes.
Which is pretty impressive considering you're not really spinning your wheels like most people
Well,
are.
I mean, to put it into context,
It's taken 10 years.
so we've been, it's been 12, over 12 full years now. I didn't take a draw from the company until 7 years.
Wow.
And 5 of those 7 years, I worked for free. And we lived off my wife in a very small, very modest 2-bedroom townhouse. And we had 2 children sharing one room.
Shout out to Deidre.
Yeah,
Shout
no
out,
shit.
Deidre.
to the anchor. And to
For the
rock.
anchor.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Because there's not a fucking chance in hell I could have done any of the shit that I did
Wow.
without that. And not just that support, but also because I'm very competent at on very narrow range of things. I couldn't do all like, how do our bills get paid? How do we pay a mortgage someday? How do we do? I don't.
Got to have structure.
I had no idea. She was doing all of it, and then I did this.
Superwoman.
You betcha. You
That's
betcha.
awesome.
Yeah.
Man, that's a great story.
Yeah.
She really like fucking supported. She believed in you. You know, like
In the most important ways, in
Yeah.
so many ways that are so behind the scenes with so many things over so many years.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's powerful
that
stuff.
woman is
You
incredible.
know that like that's the kind of stuff people you need. Like it's a requirement, like to really have.
Well, I mean, you either have like, if
Success.
your significant other is your business partner, you know that they're in it for the long haul.
Well, just the support, just the I believe.
Yeah, you got to have people that. I mean, first you got to
that
believe in
was literally-
yourself.
When I said I wanted to start a company, this
Yeah.
was a lunatic idea.
Yeah.
I have no business
Acumen.
experience at all
Yeah.
doing anything. She goes, you know what? I believe in you. Those are the words she said. You know what? I believe in you. I'm
Good enough.
like, fuck yeah.
I'll take it.
Well, you were determined.
No, I
and-
can't fuck it up.
Yeah.
You had enough discipline to do bodybuilding. That's one thing about bodybuilding that I always say. I'm not like a big bodybuilding guy, but like the discipline in which you have,
That it teaches you.
it crosses over to so many things in life.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is too is, like I said, I'm a full ass sort of guy. I don't even see it as discipline as much because I'm not super disciplined in areas that I need to be. That would still be a net positive because I don't like those things. I don't resonate with those things. But the things that I did and I put so much into felt like they were a part of who I was, and I owed it to myself to do those things at the full capacity because that's what I needed to do for myself. It wasn't discipline. It was a necessity. It was a very function of my existence.
A
Survival.
lot of people
Yes.
have a hard time breaking. First of all, they have a hard time analyzing their ego in that way, and then killing their ego in that way, and then doing something about it. So you sort of like willingly went into your discomfort zone.
I think one thing that I'm innately good at is looking at a big picture in a very 3-dimensional, complex way, and not focusing on isolated points in time or isolated experiences, and making a decision for the greater good of whatever system I'm in that will ultimately still benefit me individually, but also over the long haul of my own journey as a person.
Yeah.
So short-term gratification of things when it doesn't hinder the long-term progress of those things. And outside of that, making decisions that it's like, and again, the very cheesy way, it's like, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't mean right and wrong. I mean, that is the correct thing to do. If I were to objectively look at my situation from a third-party perspective and analyze all the variables and come up with a solution that makes the most sense, that is how I try to think about things.
Like a calculated intuition.
Very precisely. Yeah. I'm a very intuitive person. I think very
You could very well be completely wrong, but at least you have a support system that believes in you.
here's the thing, wrong in the sense of how my decisions
Like it
are
could go,
reflective.
it could go wrong.
in a construct that I'm in.
It's a risk,
but
right?
the
Like-
thing is maybe I'm not supposed to be in that construct. They're not wrong for me. Maybe I am not on the wrong path. And so for me, if it felt right for me at the core of who I am, anytime that I leaned into that, things got better. And anytime I have deviated from that because I did what I thought I was supposed to do, what I thought was the right thing, everything fucking blew up in my face.
Got any good examples of that?
How much time we got?
I mean, there's been a number of times over the years that we almost lost the company, for sure, trying to do other things that people said that we should do.
Making too many products.
Like what?
Overcommitting to a warehouse space when we are not big enough of a company to prepare for this inevitable growth that I foresaw, and getting stuck in a bad budget cycle. And it was a horrific period of time, which caused a pretty severe manic depressive episode where I fell in love with another woman and ignored all of my intuitive senses about how this was a terrible situation. And I said, fuck this. I deserve to get what I want, and what I want right now, not what I want long-term and what I should do. And I ignored all of that intuition, and I almost ruined my entire life, and almost ruined my marriage, and almost ruined this other woman's life. And it was, I've done a lot of dumb shit.
Yeah, can't deviate too far from the anchor.
No, yeah, nobody's batting 1,000. And even that one though, even that situation, it wasn't like I had an affair and fell in love with another woman. My wife and I have an open relationship, and we've dabbled with poly, and she was a co-girlfriend for almost a year.
Oh wow!
So it's not like this was like an unknown thing. It was just like something that kind of happened, and
I was manic depressive, and I was trying to fulfill these surface level what I thought were needs and wants because I felt bad for myself.
Do you guys talk about this, like you and Deidre?
All the time.
So you have open conversations
all the time.
Okay, well that's healthy.
It's like extroverted introversion.
It's necessary.
Right. So many people don't.
A lot of people,
especially because some of the things that happened are still things that come up for her, and she deserves the time to work through them. But for me, they've very much helped form who I am now, having completely ruined my life and myself. And it took me a long time to fix that and to find who I actually was out of that, to the point that now I fixed my brain. Like I literally came out of that situation after 2 years of terror and hell. And I was like, I finally am 100% sure of who I am, and I can trust my own thoughts. And I know I will not make these mistakes again.
As long as you find healing, that is the most important thing.
Yes.
If you deviate from the path, you got to find a way to patch it all back up.
But you're saying like, whatever bad things have happened were self-inflicted wounds for the most part, due to your own mental state.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, there's certainly extraneous variables that come into play in these situations, but ultimately it's how I ignored my own intuitive sense of what was the correct decision for myself over the long haul, and I focused on short-term gratification because I was in a emotionally compromised state.
What do you think did it for you? Like, how do you catch that snap? How do people catch that snap? There's so many people lost in this world. How do they catch it?
They don't get out of the matrix. They make terrible decisions all the time.
I mean, ultimately,
it was almost as though
but it's no one's fault.
You got pressurized in a way that facilitated
for
you.
Me, I had to, I don't want to say it was rock bottom. Life certainly could have technically gotten worse, right? But compared to what I had committed to this woman for, I mean, at that point in time,
sponsorship, pro bodybuilding.
At that point in time, we had been together
masters,
for 17 years. I
wedding.
had the company for, 6 or 7 years at that point. I'm like, everything that I had worked towards and everything that I believed who I was at the time completely blew up in my face all at the same time. Like in back to back within a 6-month time period.
Was it an inflation of one's self-ego?
Eventually it was. It started that way. It started with me listening to the wrong advice and then having an inflated sense. It was, hubris. I was overconfident in a plan that wasn't logical, and I ignored all the signs that was going to happen. And I dove into something that ultimately was a horrific decision, which set a cascade of me being a fucking mess. I mean, a manic mess. And then you can't make logical decisions from that state. And I was so broken and so vulnerable and felt so sorry for myself and had so few needs fulfilled, or at least that I thought fulfilled, that I just said, fuck this. I'm going to do what I want. And I was thinking about me right here, not me like this.
Tunnel vision.
And it almost ruined my whole life.
So kind of fast forward, now you've got yourself yourself a little better now.
Yeah, and, there's always still growth.
Yeah, right.
But I also know where I've been.
There's still failure.
I've been as far as you can go in both experience and in mind. Growing up, having a lifetime of very serious depressive episodes and suicide attempts, and trying to rectify my existence and fighting nihilism and purpose, and achieving so much and having so much and having some validation for that, but still a lot of challenges, and then ultimately still fucking it up because
You still feel empty.
it still wasn't enough, and realizing that the pursuit of more because it's there is human nature, but
I struggle with that.
but if you lose sense of now, then you don't exist. Then you're only existing in this future.
It's more about the journey than it is the destination.
Correct. Yes, and I was looking at it the opposite of that, and I think there is still a balance to be had between those two. And I still struggle at times to be present and to enjoy what is now and what I have now, but losing all the things that I had now, or then I should say,
Sure.
and literally losing all of it, and.
But still, it's the same lesson. It's still about the journey.
It's the exact same lesson, yeah. And so I found the person that I always knew that I was before tragedy struck, and I allowed myself to succumb to weakness and ego.
Well, it's interesting because like some of the recurring themes of like the manic and depressive episodes and stuff, and the pressure that forces you to grow, it's almost as though like, there's a part of you that does thrive off the negativity of the experience to do the right thing.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
Or the correct thing.
You sort of intentionally live in hard mode because you're trying to sharpen your sword. You're always sharpening your sword.
I mean, the thing is for me, my life has always felt, and some of my earliest memories are very much like if I coast, if things become just chill, it feels like there's no more progress to be made. It feels like the journey needs to be over and that I need to check out.
Oh, no.
And I have felt that as long as I can remember. And so to me, it's a matter of being in front of that, outrunning that, but not so much that I lose all the stuff that I'm pulling behind me and collecting as I go.
Right.
And that's what I needed to find, was the ability to do that.
I mean, it's not even the sense of checking out. It's just the boredom of maintenance.
Well, and to me, it was the horror of like.
Well, he said he doesn't half-ass anything. He full-asses everything.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, not just boredom. It's like, if this is it, I'm just waiting for the inevitable end.
Right.
Then what's the fucking point? And then especially having those thoughts all the time, compounded with stress. And so when things are good, I have those thoughts all the time, like literally every day.
Like, where's the end coming? The other shoe's got to drop.
I have thoughts about the journey and the end and the purpose of things, and this wrestle with this nihilistic existentialism, like literally every single day.
I love this conversation.
When things are good,
no, it's good.
Where it's
When
gone.
things are hard, and they are so hard that I break down, it no longer becomes worth the effort, and then I struggle to justify continuing the work.
It's like anxiety, but it's like an anti-anxiety.
And here's, I don't want to go too far in one direction, but a few years ago I had a really incredible and also traumatic LSD experience.
Oh,
and
this is gonna.
Yeah.
This, of course, this plays
Right.
into
It's
it.
usually where the snaps get
And
caught.
So for me, there was so much of trying to justify this existence, justify it, because I couldn't wrap my mind around what was the point. Right, I had this really incredible LSD experience where I had, people call it ego death. They call it any number of things.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's what it sounds like.
You see the other side.
Well, and so the
other
thing
side
is,
of the coin.
People go, oh, it's when your ego dissolves and you're no longer you and you can experience the universe. I'm like, that sounds great when you open up this door. When you go in the other direction, you open up this door.
Yeah, the existential crisis door.
It is worse than any iteration of biblical hell that you can imagine.
I mean, I would say that that's probably what it alludes to, for
The
sure.
funny thing is you have to take LSD in both ways to understand this conversation, and I think all three of us understand exactly what you're talking
and
about.
it was the definition of insanity or madness, just the most torment you can possibly imagine, and that's when I was still here.
You're in
That's
loops?
when I was in loops, and being stripped away. But that's when I was still here. When I wasn't here anymore, and I was in another place,
In the other dimension.
and I eventually became consciousness for the sake of consciousness, stuck on a loop, pondering myself existing for no purpose other than to think about the fact that I exist on
a loop,
on an exponentially increasing loop in terms of magnitude and duration. Every level was
intensity.
Far worse and far longer, and I was convinced I was there forever, and I had superseded death, and that was my fate as a conscious being, was to be on this loop. And only when I finally
sounds like atheist heaven.
It's purgatory.
It's worse than any of that. It's worse than anything you can put into language. And as soon as I succumbed to that and accepted my fate, I felt like I was in pure white energy of nothing. And then I felt like I was being born into this world. And I took these breaths and I had these blips of reality coming back. And when I realized, I kept blipping back in and then blipping back out.
But like that surrendering moment where you're like,
I gave up. Yeah. I finally gave up. And during the whole course of this many-hour ordeal, I locked myself in a room and I told one friend to babysit me, and I said, "Do not let Deidre in this room. Do not let."
You don't want her to see you like that.
And what's funny is, after hours, and I'm unconscious, laying on this bed. At one point in time, she came in and laid down next to me, and she said that 30 seconds after she laid down, I opened up my eyes and looked at her, and that's when I started to come out of it. Just randomly that she was there, and I kept blipping back in and out. And as soon as I anchored onto her, I stayed in this reality, and I looked at her and I grabbed her.
She kept you alive.
I grabbed her face and I go, "Of course it's you." And as soon as I said that, the fucking lights came back on in the room, and then I could see the walls, and then I could see the door, and then I could see the hallway. And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm back. I'm fucking back. I get to exist. And it doesn't matter why I exist. It doesn't matter what happens after this. This exists.
It's just power
is the
in
fucking
existing.
gift." And I have never felt anything like that. And what's funny is, coming out of that, I have never felt that much gratitude, but I was also still tripping my fucking dick off.
Oh, of course.
And so she's going, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yes." And she goes, "Are you okay?" And I go, "Yes." She's like, "Are you sure?" And I go, "Emphatically yes." And as soon as I yelled that, the outline of my visual periphery lit up like a white neon tube with blue neon corners, and it bing, 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 like I fucking won. Like, this existence was the gift, and I fucking won. I won that game. It was incredible.
Spiritually, she saved you.
Yeah. She was my anchor to this reality, to this gift.
She's like an angel.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those are some of the best trips, though, in a weird way.
Yeah. Well,
it's that contrast of like going through complete fucking torment.
But unfortunately now, even not on specifically LSD, but in, other situations, if there's the right music playing over here and lights over here, and I'm walking down a hallway, it's like in Stranger Things when all of a sudden they're in the upside down, and like, how the fuck did I end up here?
Yeah.
And I have flashbacks.
Yeah.
And they're pretty bad. And I have some friends that help me get out of them, but I'm like, I'm so glad that I created this neural pathway that will get stimulated even when I'm not on LSD, that will remind me that torment exists, and it will just happen. And that's wild.
Yeah. Well, it's like you remember a bad trip more than you remember a good one. Well, and that fear is necessary.
It's not only is that a reminder of this gratitude that I have, but it also gives me a greater ability to be a guide to other people about not making these very cavalier mistakes and taking these things for granted. I'm certainly a boundaries pusher. For sure I am.
Yeah.
But more often than not, I'm a very calculated and analytical boundaries pusher. And sometimes I need to remind myself so that I can be that rock for other people to remind them as well.
Yeah. And plus, that's kind of the spice of life in a certain degree.
You ever think you're being too hard on yourself?
Well, I told you earlier, you look younger than you are. Like, you don't
I think I'm being as hard on myself as I need to be, because that's what feels like it's the right thing to do. And when I need to rest, I know that I will be better and be able to show up better when I can. And I push myself a lot, and I push life a lot, but I also enjoy life a lot. I play a lot.
That's true.
A lot.
For a business owner, a father, for all these things you have going on in your life, you also have a lot of hobbies, which I actually, like, I'll be honest, I'm a little envious of this, because where I'm at in my life, I don't have a lot of hobbies. You guys are my friends. Like, I don't really have a lot of things externally going on in my life right now, because I'm so invested in this right now. And I'm like, man, how does a guy like this have a DeLorean? That's fucking cool.
You have a fucking DeLorean?
Did you not know that?
I didn't know you had a DeLorean.
So for my 40th birthday last year, leading into that, the year before that, I made it a personal goal to eventually get a 1981 DeLorean. And so I figured out that there are certified auto body shops. There's 4 of them in the United States.
There's not many, and they're rare.
And they're very rare, and they service all the collectors' cars, and occasionally they broker a sale. And since DeLorean only made so many cars, but they made a fuck ton of parts, you could get them serviced, but good luck finding a car. And so I eventually looked into this, and I was like, I want a 1981. I wanted to have this. I wanted to be a Back to the Future version. I don't want the 83 with the weird fucking line on the thing. I want this one. And just by dumb luck, he acquired one that was for sale, a couple of months after I had talked to him, and he refurbished it for me with all original components, down as good as it could be.
Yeah.
And I acquired it a couple months before my 40th birthday.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I have a DeLorean. Yeah.
How cool is that? And you're like, you do the Batman thing. It's
not just Batman.
You have extracurricular hobbies.
Well, I have allowed myself to do more of those things in the last couple of years because I found that I am better at all the things that actually matter when I allow myself to do those things. And looking back at my life as a kid, I was like an art savant growing up. Everybody thought I was going to be an artist or an architect or a graphic designer or something. I was an art savant growing up, and I was constantly drawing, building Legos, making costumes, building shit. Around the clock for years and years. That's all that I did. Mm-hmm. And so finding those things as an adult in ways that I could share that with my kids has just been incredible. I mean, I don't do these things in regular intervals. It's like when I want to do it, when I feel like a burst of inspiration to do this, I can get into something and I flow incredibly well when I am allowed to be in that space and don't feel like I force myself to do it. Even back in my academic stuff and my master's program, I was like an isolated burst of flow guy where, like my graduate thesis, I wrote my 100-page graduate thesis in 8 hours in one day, in one shot. Because I knew that that's when I was going to do it. And so I did it. And I didn't go back and look at anything.
But you were in the zone the entire time.
Yeah. Well, that's how my brain works.
The funny thing about both of you guys I see in common is most people probably think of you guys as kind of like science people where everything is hardlined. There's a yin and yang, there's a white, there's a black, there's a line that gets crossed. But really, both of you guys are pretty creative. Like
I love tinkering.
I'm definitely not a binary guy. I'm not a list guy. I'm not a two-dimensional guy.
Talking to the guy who signed up his wife on a swinger website.
Well, I know, but like I'm saying optics-wise, when you think of like, oh, this guy's a formulator or it's a science-driven person.
Yes, but those are only pieces of the whole. And when I say that, I think very like conceptually, very three-dimensionally. When I think about things and have this intuitive sense of things, I visibly build a three-dimensional cluster
like model
in my brain.
You have vision.
And I can feel it shifting into place and going in a certain direction. And so when people are like, how do you come up with these formulas and how do it matches this product from a couple of years ago and there's no crossover and this, I was like, because I don't see it for these ingredients in this list of stuff, which is this very short-sighted way to do it. You have to know those things, yes, but those things get plugged into a bigger a bigger system of stuff, and it's the interplay of all things that.
So how much does like research play a role in sort of forming these visions?
I mean, it's a necessary foundational element to understand the pieces that go into the bigger picture.
Right,
but it's not just that.
It's not a flat puzzle; it's a three-dimensional.
But you also have to understand what is the image you're trying to portray, and how does it fit into the brand, and how does it fit into the cost structure of your company, and how does it fit into the industry, and how does it fit into the current trend of things, and how does it fit into consumer demands. All of these variables have to be taken into consideration. You have to know all of them, or at least enough of all of them to put a decent picture together. Mm-hmm. I certainly don't have all these answers. Otherwise I would be, have a couple more zeros to my name. Where
but that doesn't matter to you, does it?
Well, here's the thing. Of course it matters. It's not the reason that I did anything, and it's not the reason I want to do anything. And the purist in me dreads the idea that I have to monetize this because it's my responsibility. Mm-hmm. But that is the road that we took. Mm-hmm. And now it is my duty to protect my family. And so I don't want success for the sake of having a DeLorean. I still have it's not like I just spent $100,000 on a DeLorean. I have car payments. Like I didn't just fucking buy it with cash.
Yeah,
I
took pay for it.
I took a risk, but at the same time, like I need to provide for my family. And if somebody offered me a situation tomorrow that took away my creativity and my outlet in the company, but it secured my children's future forever, I would take it in a heartbeat because I'm a dad first before this thing. And also I would go start another thing. And also if somebody did that, this would become an even bigger version of the thing that I dreamt up with in a way that I can't make happen because I'm not the big picture business guy and the marketing guy.
I'm just going to play devil's advocate for a second. For not being like a faith kind of guy, you do seem to have a level of spirituality where you believe in serendipity and sort of manifest destiny.
Only when you've been in the void of the infinite.
Here's the thing.
I'm not like a religious construct person.
I'll say yes and no. Yeah. So the way that I kind of look at it is that anything that has happened, to me, is the only way that things could have happened.
Right.
You're like, oh, it could have happened some other way. I'm like, if it could have in any tangible way compared to what did happen, then it would have, and we would be in a different reality. And are there alternate realities that those things did happen? Maybe. I'm open to that idea, but that's not what did happen. Yeah. And so
we're a manifestation of our experiences.
In the infinitely small chance that I get to exist, that Deidre existed, that we had the same trauma points, that we could come together and create greatness, like, do I think that we were meant for that? That puts the responsibility of that and the creation of that on an external entity. But is that the only way that it could have happened? Yes, because that's the way that it did happen. And if it could have happened some other way, then it would have, and we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, that's like a vantage point of sort of like omnipresence in a way. Like,
a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think looking at that less externally and more internally is the more important point. And I think that's some of the problem that I have with spirituality, or even, religion as an organized construct itself, is that it puts so much responsibility outside of the self and
external judgment instead of internal.
Well, and not just judgment, but decision making and accountability for what's happening in your own life. It is first and foremost, it is your duty to fulfill your purpose, whatever you deem that to be in life, and to maximize the gift that you are here. It is your duty as a conscious being to do. Otherwise, you are squandering your existence and you are fucking it up.
I think
you shouldn't exist. And the fact that you do means that you owe to yourself to fucking win this game.
Well, a lot of people don't see it that way. They're victims of circumstance, thinking that they don't have free will when they fail to realize that the free will that they're exercising is what's causing their shitty situations.
Correct. And the thing is free will, again, confined by the constructs of reality.
Yes.
You cannot fly. You exist in society in this day and age. There are laws that govern our freedoms that if you get in trouble, like, it will fuck things up. And so I'm not suggesting that you do things that are damaging to your long-term potential as a conscious entity. But outside of things that could ruin your life, like, there are no rules. There's no universal rule that these are the way things need to be.
So you are the author of your own story. So it's like,
this is what you're supposed to do. Like, I don't have to. There are no ways you're supposed to do anything until you deem it to be right for you based on how you feel about that being aligned with who you are as a person. I don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks. I don't give a fuck what society thinks. I don't give a fuck what's expected. Society was different 1,000 years ago, and it's going to be different in 1,000 years. And you know what? If they start to put nanotech in us and we become a half robot, things are going to change too. And yes, we're confined by those things, but I still have free will within the confines of this construct. And I'd be damned if I had that taken away from me by expectations of other people's minds that I don't have access to and I don't have the right to know. It's none of my business what other people think about shit. And if they tell me, I don't fucking care. Go fuck yourself. I didn't ask.
There's plenty of room in the box to bounce around.
I think a key sort of metric here is just knowing oneself, your limitations, your capabilities, and then pushing both of those things.
And being honest with yourself. So much of who you are is not this single thing. You have layers to your consciousness. You have this forward-facing self-fulfilling person that's this, that's me fucking up my life 7 years ago. And then you have this subconscious that you're not even aware that exists that drives so much of these intuitive senses, and you don't even know where that comes from. It's still part of who you are as a consciousness. And so...
Where does that come from? Trauma?
Well, it's all things, right? It's also just wiring. It's also
survival mechanisms.
It's also just your operating system that you have that was formed by genetics and situations, traumas, successes, people, who knows, right? And slowly learning all the pieces of that and ultimately being able to trust the layers of yourself to make the decisions that you need to make for the long-term potential of yourself is important.
I feel like a lot of this has interesting like parallel messaging with like your products.
Well, I was about to say that. It comes full circle. It
does
really
come full
If you
circle.
pay attention enough, it comes circle.
Like you're making these as tools to help people be able to do what we're talking about, is to take charge of their life.
And also, even before them, for me.
Yeah.
And
So there's
after
a
me, my family
There's
and
a
my
level
dad.
of selfishness to it.
Well, I've told this
There
story.
always
I've
is.
told this story before, like our organ health product Prime.
Yeah.
I made that for my dad.
Yeah.
I have a family history of heart disease on both sides of the family. My dad's dad died when I was 2. My mom's had 2 heart attacks. My family has high blood lipids and high A1C and all these sorts of, ticking time bomb things. And I was trying to get him to take all these different things. And this is at a time in the industry a number of years ago when the only like health stuff were like, those little tubs of like Hawthorne berry and, shit, right?
Yeah.
Terrible tasting shit that existed 10 years ago. And I was like, why doesn't anybody just take all the stuff you need and put it in one product? Same thing I said about starting this. And so then I did it, and people would go, you can't make a product with 6 capsule serving size. No one's going to take that.
It's been done.
Not only has it been done, but it has been done extensively, and now everybody does it. But I remember saying 8 years ago, I was like, maybe you won't take it because you don't value it.
Yeah. You don't care that much.
My people will take it because they
Yeah.
value it.
Morphogen is definitely like a super user brand. You probably get a lot of repeat buys.
We do. So that number has gone down a little bit as we have shifted some of our focus into some new customer acquisition stuff. And honestly, things are fickle. The economy's fickle. People's buying power is fickle. There are more brands. Even the most loyal people, even the most logical people, eventually are curious about other stuff, and they are swayed in another direction by peer pressure or by
TikTok.
Shiny
cost,
things.
Yeah.
shiny new toy syndrome. It could be literally anything, and so everybody is going to eventually deviate from that. Everybody, and we are in a position right now that we are trying to navigate how we acquire these new people to keep the brand going and maintain the relationships that we have with the existing people, and exist in an industry that is very stressful with, logistics, manufacturing logistics, labor logistics, cost of goods, raw material supply, all the shit that I fucking hate that is a requirement to do the pure thing that I want to do.
It's not a simple
I have to
transaction.
run a fucking business. And so looking at the bigger picture and all these pieces, it all has to plug and play in there. But ultimately, these things have to make sense to me first and foremost. Do I like the product? Do I think that this product makes sense? And if it's not for me, does it make sense that it's for people that I care about? And by extension, customers and people that support us. And yet all of that is important. But if I'm talking hierarchy of importance, me first, my family second, peers third, and the community I don't want to say last because that sounds bad, but after that, and as it should be, because why would I make a brand that's a consumer driven brand that has no attachment to who I am or what I'm trying to do for myself? Like, it can't relate
You
to
are
that
going to
brand.
love the section of our show called That's Bullshit.
No bullshit is one of our core values of the company. So,
I know.
You want to take a break?
We'll be back after these messages.
This episode is sponsored by Core Culture. Core Culture offers premium athletic wear crafted from high-quality, breathable fabrics. They move with you, keeping you cool and comfortable during even the most intense workouts. But you can also wear them casually at, the grocery store or to work even, the office. They're great Sunday wear. Core Culture goes beyond just performance. They're committed to earth-conscious manufacturing, minimizing environmental impact with every stitch. And also, just a note, they're 100% custom tailor made, meaning the actual designs themselves are IP that you can't get anywhere else. How would I know this? Because myself, TK, I'm one of the owners of Core Culture, and we spent several years developing this athletic brand. Not only do we have high-end athleisure apparel, but we also sell supplements as well. And we make all of our supplements at a NSF registered manufacturing facility. That basically means that that all the products that we make are legit. Our products are things like collagen. We have a mushroom immunity, which has some great mushroom beta-glucans. We have an electrolyte. We have phenomenal isolate proteins and even a vegan protein. One of my favorite products that we have is called Focus. It's a nootropic, super high quality stuff, premium packaging. You really can't get a better deal when it comes to supplements and athleisure. Core Culture's modern designs are fashionable as they are functional. Whether you're crushing a workout, hitting the pavement, or chilling at home, Core Culture is the perfect outfit or supplement to elevate your look and your well-being. So visit coreculture.com today and experience the difference. Core Culture, look good, feel good, do good. And use our code SUPWORKS for 20% off.
Oh,
and we're back.
okay.
All right.
So what do we want to jump into, Joey? Let's like quick fire some questions for Ben.
I want to know what the favorite product that you've ever made is, even if it's discontinued or whatever. If it was like an older formula or something, like what was your favorite? I mean, there's probably more than one.
I'm going to go with Prime because of the reason that I made it for my dad's thing, and also for me now, and also for my brother, and they're on monthly subscription. It just gets shipped to their house. I mean, that for its utility, that is my favorite. But if I'm talking emotionally, it would be Alphagen. That is the start of everything that I did. And when I started the company, everybody has a pre-workout. It was like, don't have a pre-workout. Everybody's got a pre-workout. I'm like, but pre-workout is the one thing that you can take it once and tell if this company's full of shit or not.
Yeah.
Like from the get-go. And
it's
if
the gateway drug.
It's the gateway product. If a company can't formulate a good pre-workout, it's very likely that the rest of their line sucks. And, I felt very strongly about that 12, 13 years ago. And now that's commonly talked about, in circles these days. Yeah, it's your flagship. I would say emotionally, that one's my favorite because that's the one that started the whole thing.
Yeah.
I asked this question earlier, but you didn't have an answer for it. You're not really a huge trademarked ingredient like aficionado. You try and not do them if you want, but if there is an ingredient that you'll splurge on, if you'll spend more money on it,
yeah,
for the sake of having it in your products, what is it?
So without pinpointing a very specific one ingredient yet in this answer, it would be things that have novel compound like traits and patenting and not just branding and trademarking. Anybody can trademark or brand any bullshit ingredient or combinations of ingredients in a proprietary blend and call it a trademarked ingredient. That's just a proprietary blend. That's nonsense.
Right. Manufacturers do this all the time.
And brands do that. Brands will literally put a proprietary blend under a trademark as if they were licensed the trademark by another company and it's their own trademark and consumers don't know.
Guilty.
Yeah. And they never actually trademark it.
And here's the thing, and I understand there's two sides of this, right? Because one, it's protecting IP. I totally understand and respect that. And the other hand is that it allows a company to make something that is potentially deceiving. And I say potentially because you don't know.
Give me the R3WS1. I want you to get a load of this shit. Oh.
Found the hole. There you go.
That's amazing.
All right. Is this a good example? No, this is a bad example.
Well,
give me one that fell through the floor. Yeah.
Okay.
Check that out.
Some bullshit Joey made up.
This is not me. This is the original formulator of C4. And I had to go when I took over the job at Cellucor, I was like, I've got
Orthanol.
I got to make sense of what the fuck is this?
Gluterex.
Everything has its own trademark name. Everything. And it's common ass shit.
Not the NAC.
No, yeah, not the NAC.
NAC-X.
Everyone knows NAC.
NAC-ic.
I mean, dude, I don't know. But this guy, he was all about
If these were novel compounds, novel extracts,
they're not.
Like what's
an example?
If it was something like a sulfa, right?
There's
where it's
two of them on this one.
a specific isolated extract of something else.
Yeah.
Vitargo's another one.
Sure.
Cool. Totally get it. It's unfortunate that there's such a focus on these things, not just by...
From a consumer standpoint?
I have a saying.
Even before it gets there, from an industry standpoint, because of media and marketing and sales, that it is pushed so heavily on consumers that consumers think that this is the ticket. Oh, this one has 10 trademarked ingredients. Yes, and they're all just regular botanicals with a trademark on them. It's literally the same fucking compound. And I understand the argument in some of these that like, well, that compound is typically tainted with this and ours is tested for this. I can get behind that if that is a provable thing.
Right, like standardizations.
Not just standardizations. You know, it's like some of the theory with...
There's a new trademark kava that has all the like shitty things for your liver taken out of it.
Wonderful.
That would be great.
I'm all behind it.
Yeah.
We have a ingredient called Gut Guard in our biome, our microbiome product, and that's a licorice extract that is standardized to have all of the whatever the long complicated thing taken out basically. Great, love that. But when you're looking at these for the sake of these, if they don't make sense, I don't like feeling pressured to use them. It also prevents you from making either a more affordable product or a more well-rounded product at a higher price point because they cost so much fucking money. If you use a branded version of this versus the generic, is assuming the generic tests out to be the same as the branded, you're going to save multiple dollars that you then either should transfer onto savings to the consumer or put 2 more fucking ingredients in there that make sense, which is what I would do.
I have a saying that you can patent a pile of shit. It's still a pile of shit.
Yeah. What would you name I don't want to say patent because you're patenting a compound or a processing fee. If you were just licensing and if you're just trademarking a generic old pile of shit, what would your mark be?
Billy Bob's pile of shit. I don't know.
Probably some sort of.
I've always
probably
made
some
jokes
sort of
about
poo-poo fiber or something like that.
Billy Bob's testing lab and Billy Bob's raw ingredients. And eventually, Billy Bob's going to have a fucking massive empire on his
No, you put
here's the
your
thing.
name on everything. It's like Savage Juice. Savage Gin.
That sounds like the coolest steroid cycle I've ever
Savage
heard
Gin.
of.
I feel like you would have to have some science-y word for poop in the name or some piece of that.
Like fecal.
Like
Savagical.
Feca Pro or something.
Fika Pro. That sounds actually kind of zingy.
Yeah, Savage Feca Pro.
Fika Pro.
Defecol.
Defecol, yeah.
Yeah.
Try Defecol. If you're constipated, try Defecol.
All right, back to the
This shit works.
back to the rapid fire questions.
Well, and also, so some of these things, like, if they have testing that show that they might have less impurities or, obviously standardizations, those things matter. But if they don't matter, then they shouldn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
All right, I got another question. Are you like a efficacious dose guy or are you like a synergistic formulator kind of guy?
I would say that I am on the majority spectrum of efficacious dosing, but I understand and appreciate synergy. The problem that I have with that is the bastardization of that idea by idiots or unscrupulous people who are conveying the same message to people that are unknowing that these people are idiots or evil under the guise
like
of
MLM
synergy
companies.
Yes. But I certainly understand that, especially because, you can look into all the research and there's not going to be research on these 10 ingredients together in any sort of dosing, let alone the efficacious doses. And the efficacious dosing is not a singular point on an axis. There's a range. And so typically what I have done is looked at the range and looked at, if something says 1 to 2 grams, I'm going to put 2 grams in there because if people use half the scoop on a pre-workout, they're still in that range. But when companies put 1 and they're like clinical dosing, but start with half a scoop, I'm like, it's not clinical dosing anymore. And I'm not saying it's worthless, but it's deceiving. And I don't like the deceiving nature of that. Sure. I very, very strongly do not like arbitrary doses. When people make up doses that don't mean fuck
4 grams of beta alanine.
Specifically, or 168 milligrams of caffeine. What the fuck is that? You made it up to be confusing. That is stupid. I cannot stand when
Well,
shit
what if
like
they
that.
have caffeine from like different sources and they have to claim?
I understand the addition of all of that.
Yeah.
But even for me, if there are round numbers used overwhelmingly in the literature, I would prefer to use that, or at least something that makes sense within a range of things. If the range is 100 to 200 milligrams and you use 150, that's a solid thing. You shouldn't use 152. What the fuck is that? That's a deceiving number that is made up to be confusing to make people think it's special.
Them credit for those extra 2 milligrams.
No. But they did that on purpose.
Because we got 2
here's
more
the thing, it's
than
either,
this guy over here, 150.
They either did it on purpose, which really bothers me, or they're idiots, which bothers me a little bit less than if they did it on purpose.
That sounds like one of Billy Bob's.
It's like a Price is Right thing. You just like, I need $1 more just to beat them. Joey, do you have any other questions? Because I have some more. I just want you to
fucking keep going. I'm just gonna fuel the fire here.
Okay. $44. What's up with that?
$44.
Isn't
$48.
48?
It's not, everything's not 48 anymore. We have since deviated from that due to the necessity of doing that based on consumer spending habits and the economy and all the bullshit things I've already said. But for a long time, we had a consistent price point, and nobody does that.
Yeah, no.
The reason that I did that is because when I look at a company and I see a $30 product and a $50 product, my gut reaction is either the $30 product could be better or the $50 product is too expensive. And so when I look at, again, big picture guy, at least at the time that we were coming up and I was so focused on these tiny details and how everything reflects the brand as a whole. I was like, I want every product to not be the star individually. I want them to be an equal piece of the whole. And so if I didn't want one product to be so underwhelming that it was $30, just meh, and then some all-star product that was $50 or $60. I certainly understand the utility in having commodities or having more simple formulas for, things like fiber, whatever, right? But am I ever going to make a $30 pre-workout and also have a $60 pre-workout? No, probably not. To me, that doesn't make sense. I understand target markets and double dipping into these sorts of things, but at the same time too, because I am not the person that is trying to do this for every single person. I'm trying to find the people that find the value in what this is. And so if you have a product that, it's like people go, why don't you make one of the budget pre's? I go, why don't you just use half a scoop of Alphagen? It's the same thing.
There's your budget pre.
It's the same fucking thing. It's literally, if you look at the doses of all the budget pre's, it's half of what the full serving would be. Well, no wonder they're $1 a scoop because it should be $2 a scoop and you're using half. But it's one scoop now and it's marketed like a daily driver. What does that even mean? Nobody's using pre-workout daily. Daily driver, that's nonsense. It's
I call them the born to be double scooped pre-workouts.
You do say that.
And the thing is, I understand again the utility in a double scoop from a safety perspective and getting people to do it, and also some people, either don't need that much or they can string it out a little bit more. And I have since started to create scenarios with products that have been like that. I even have some products that have variable dosing in capsule products where it's you can take 6 or you can take 4 for maintenance. Since, like our joint product is that way. And it allowed me to make a better product and sell it at a price point that made sense that could be used for maintenance or budgeted accordingly to people that had more intent.
That is complicated to do from a compliance standpoint.
But it is complex. And also, unfortunately, just because I think about this doesn't mean anybody understands it or values it. And so I wrestle with
the general consumer market probably doesn't read into it that far.
I'm aware of that. And this is, you
got to dumb stuff down for people because you don't want to make it hard for people. You need to make it easy.
I am not good at that. And I am slowly learning these lessons as a business owner as I move forward and still trying to maintain my integrity in running the company for the initial reasons that I did it. And that is a challenge, and it will always be a challenge, and I'm a problem solver, but it's always going to evolve. But that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Okay. So do you formulate and create products based off of categories because it's of maybe a good business decision, or do you find ingredients in which you want to, you basically want to build a product around because you like this ingredient particularly?
It's pretty rare that I will take an isolated ingredient that I'm excited for and build a category around it or a product that fits into a category around that one ingredient. What I look at is, again, big picture. I look at the line as a whole. And if an ingredient pops up that I think has merit in using, I look and see where it could fit logically. And if it can't fit logically into an existing product, either because of what it is or logistically cost or manufacturing issues or any of these, sorts of hurdles come into play, then I look at, can this be utilized in another fashion that still makes sense, and not for the sake of using that ingredient because it's a hyped thing, but because I think that it can be used in a way that makes sense. It has to make sense. There has to be a reason for everything that I do. I remember having this conversation with Deidre years and years and years ago, and I was like, even if it's one person, if somebody asks me a question about why I made this decision, I have to have a good answer. And the answer can't be money, and it can't be popularity. Mm-hmm. It can't be
like clout.
Yeah. Well, not my popularity. I mean, like, I used this ingredient because it's popular. That cannot be an answer. I used this dose because it's popular. I cannot use that as an answer. It has to make sense from a utility standpoint.
And this is in the confines in the overall spectrum of the entire line.
Correct. And then that, you know,
but you do have a lot of SKUs. So
working backwards from there, it fills into individuality of how things come into play.
Okay.
And also the evolution of products. You know, we have an Omega product that was originally designed as an Omega product that had an adjunct D3K2 as a piece of that, which to me made logical sense for the
fat soluble
totally and the co-benefits, you know, within
cardiovascular health.
Yes, and we were marketing it as an Omega cardiovascular health product. So then I put nattokinase in there, which could be a blood flow product. It very well could be. And there
heart health.
But that's why we put it in that one, because now it is a product that has the omegas for heart health. It has the D3 for everything. It has the K2,
clean up after the D3.
To clean up after that. And it has the nattokinase to reduce, clotting. And so you're breaking
that
you're clearing out plaque buildup. You're preventing clotting. You're, increasing, cell membrane integrity, and you're helping hormone production. You're doing all these, with, mineral interplay between things. It fills a lot of gaps. It makes sense. Could any one of those ingredients be elsewhere and be logical? Yes, there are some really good blood flow type products on the market that use that, and I understand why they do that. I put it in this one because that's where I could put it, and to me that made the most sense.
It's where it does the most good, honestly.
Is Morphogen more like? Is a core value of Morphogen and what drives how you build these products based off of like performance, optimization, or like general health and wellness?
So when we started the company, our first number of products were all performance-based products. They were specifically in what I would call a bodybuilding sense. As we evolved and saw utility in other products, I certainly came out with more health and wellness products that still at the time fit into a bodybuilding system of health and wellness. Certainly coming out with an organ health product is great for people competing in bodybuilding and using gear.
It's mandatory.
Certainly.
And I think some of your products are sort of like, kind of like top of the spectrum. You have some of the most flagship, top of the line, like organ and general wellness.
We have
products.
had over the years that we've had Prime Omega specifically, we have had an overwhelming number of people that have been, not just health advocates, but like very, very intense, serious, professional bodybuilding people sponsored by other companies. We're talking major players at the Olympia, major players in all these avenues who have purchased our product over the years. There's a few prep coaches that have Olympias underneath them that have their athletes use a few of our products, even though they're sponsored by
I'm sure that
companies.
happened to you at the Arnold. I'm sure people walked up to you and you're like, hey, you're Morphogen Ben. My, athlete has taken this, and this from you.
It's super flattering. It also kind of sucks because like this person who's one of the most famous people in the entire industry for the last 5 years has been using this product and nobody is allowed to know.
Yeah.
And I know.
Yeah.
It sucks. And then
you should be getting credit for that kind of stuff.
And then also seeing the affiliated company to these people eventually bastardize that product in their own line.
Yeah.
Is really frustrating for me. But that's happened a number of times.
It's politics.
And I get it. I mean, I get it. If I was on their side of things, I would do the same thing.
I'm paying you this much money and you're taking this guy's fish oil. You better not say a thing about it.
You should take ours and we're going to copy his formula and pretend that his doesn't exist anymore.
That's try and make it more economical.
That's what happens. That's happened a number of times.
It happens all the time.
You have the same approach to flavoring too. Your flavors are kind of non-typical.
Twists.
Well, so here's the thing. So I've done the standard
remix.
I've done the standard shit and I've done the wild over the top shit, and I have slowly started to come back into some middle ground here. The way we came up with the name, so this one actually was our original flavor of Alphagen that we had was a sort of like a Jolly Rancher watermelon. We called it Candy Melon. And the second SKU we ever released was a sort of like a Kool-Aid grape. And so I wanted to bring those back, but I wanted to put them together. And I remember as a kid, and part of the reason I even came up with those flavors, I remember my brother and I doing like fucking Bubblicious gum as a kid. And it was always watermelon and grape. And then we would always end up putting like a piece of each in our mouth. And that popped into my head. And I was like, take the original two flavors of our flagship product and put them together, and it would be like a remix. And I was like, we'll just call it Remix. And then I was like, we should do that with all the flavors. And that's kind of where that whole thing came from. And I'm still not entirely sold that is the right decision from a consumer understanding standpoint. But
well, you can do probably a better job of telling that story, maybe trademarking Remix and then adding some sort of graphic or something.
I don't care anymore.
You don't give a shit about that stuff, though, yeah.
No.
That's like not your bag. You're like, no, fuck that. Because I kind of have another bone to pick with you.
There's only so many things that I can worry about, and that's not on my list.
In person, your labels, they're more impressive in person than they are like on mock-ups. But they are sort of understated, purposefully.
Yes.
What's the whole? I mean, I know you put a lot of thought in this. I've talked to Lizzie. Shout out Lizzie. I know she helps you, but like, you put a lot of thought into this.
And you know what's so funny is
not over the top.
This design that we've had now for 3 years. I look at this now and I hate it, but at the time, compared to what we were doing before that, I was thrilled, and that's what's always happened.
That is not ever going to stop.
Yeah,
this is everything in my whole life. This is not just these fucking labels.
So when you see these like loud, these very like over the top graphics,
I don't like it.
That's not your bag.
I don't like it. I think there's, for me, and I say this for me because I understand and respect all of what other people need to do for themselves. For me, there has to be not just an aesthetic flow to it, but also a representation of why it is done. People that put a ton of images on a label for the sake of images and pictures and graffiti, my question is why? And if the answer is marketing, then to me, that is a bullshit fucking reason. What does it fucking mean? What does that fucking lightning bolt mean? What does that little creature on the tub mean? It doesn't mean fuck anything. It means that you are pandering to people that don't understand this on a way that hits them emotionally, that doesn't allow them to appreciate the product for what it is. And to me, that feels wrong. And I do not fucking like it. If I can put some imagery on a tub that makes sense to that product, to me as a person, to our brand as a whole, I'm all for it. But there has to be a reason for it. And the reason cannot be marketing, and it can't be cool. That's a bullshit fucking answer.
Well, if I can counter
an
that,
image like this, that could work on Alphagen.
Well, let's just back up. Can I counter this when we?
Why? Because it is about representing power and the feeling of being able to carry the whole world
I'm okay
on your
with
shoulders.
that. I'm okay with that. But also, even in the way that it's structured at the time that we were coming up with it, even the shape of those components on there. And admittedly, I did not do a good job conveying this to the public because I'm a shitty fucking marketing person and I'm a shitty social media person. I failed at conveying my thoughts clearly to people.
But you are a creative person. You said
I'm highly creative.
You are an artistic person.
Yes.
Okay, just back this all up. I'm countering this just to give you a little bit of attention. What we do here at Nutrimedia is we go through this thing called brand therapy, where we talk about visually how everything applies to an emotional reason based off of some sort of value system that's driven by the brand, and usually that value system
or the consumer.
It's driven in two ways: one by the consumer, and two by whoever the driving force of the tone and messaging of that is. In the case of your brand, it's you. In some cases, it's a celebrity or maybe it's a mascot, but in this case, it's you. Now, you may be like I get it for you because you're like what you see is what you get. There is no bullshit here.
Well, but even in that respect, though, there are ways that I envision this having more flair to it, but I have been limited in my capacity to actualize these things due to my own limitations as a CEO and as a manager of a company that I'm still trying to figure out how to fucking run the company and pay my bills and do all these things. There are certainly ways that I know that there is more in me to do that. And I'm not saying that graphics for the sake of graphics across the entire industry are terrible. There are some brands that fucking kill it, and and I love it. Mm-hmm. There are some brands that clearly are doing it
There are layers to
and
it.
it's fuck all to nothing, and I hate it.
Some have,
and I hate it.
Some have meaning, some don't.
And the ones that don't, I want to burn them, and I want to disappear from this industry because I cannot stand things that are done without intention, without the right intention. It drives me fucking nuts.
Let's take like Glaxon, for example.
Perfect example.
We intentionally had things mean nothing for the intention
of meaning nothing.
Which is a deeper level of inside joke that I appreciate.
That was the whole point.
Yes. What is a Glaxon? Nothing. It's a made up word, and that's why we're doing it, because it's funny because we're using a made up word. I know that, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I like that.
We had a mascot. There was a cheap Amazon costume.
No, we went to Party City and we bought that.
After that, we bought it on Amazon.
But that's the point I'm making is like,
but the cohesion in that brand was incredible across all platforms.
It did have meaning, but the meaning was nothing.
Well, the meaning was deeper than the surface level meaning of what those individual images could have meant. It was a deeper meaning of what the brand meant as a whole, at bucking convention of the way these other brands do it.
Well, yes,
I like.
It was supposed to
which is the same way you created the products and the same way the formulas were and the same way the marketing was. And I get that, and I got it, and I liked it.
It was supposed to poke fun at the industry, but yet still have efficacious merit. That was sort of the point, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas yours is just very surface. I wouldn't say it's surface. There is a ton of depth to it. I understand that. But
I think that your products have like a level of sophistication that most consumers won't ever fucking appreciate.
And I know that, and I wrestle with that because I also know that a lot of the limitations to the potential of the company that I started is me. I'm well aware of that. And I currently don't have the answers as to how to rectify that. I can slowly get better, but at the same time, I also am humble enough to admit that a lot of the times I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I stumbled upon this business, and I stumbled upon a business that became very successful, relatively speaking, granted over the course of 10 years, without trying. I mean, for 10 years, we doubled every year. We went from a company that I started with $2,800 to a company that was doing several $1 million a year in sales without trying to do anything.
And no retail.
That's
crazy.
And
that is crazy.
Very minimal social media presence. And that worked. And now it doesn't work, and things are tough. And now I'm trying to figure out how
you just reach
to
the
keep
threshold. And then there's a way to break through that threshold to get to the next level.
And I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to find those people, and I don't have the money to spend on that. And if somebody else had the answers, I'm open to receiving that information and having some assistance and having all that, but I don't have those answers.
Sounds like a little brand therapy.
Well, I mean, he's working with the pro.
Lizzie and I have talked about that. About eventually diving into that.
Lizzie's the best.
And we have talked about even putting together sort of like a round table of people that can help me get out of my own way.
But the question is, do you need to?
Here's the thing.
Like at the end of the day, it's working.
It was working.
Okay.
It is working enough right now to be a thing, but it's not
to elicit like massive growth.
And I don't even care about massive growth. I care about efficiency, and I care about stability, and I care about not being so fucking stressed all the time. And right now, there's no guarantee that this is going to do what it needs to do month after month so that I can pay my bills accordingly. And could it in the next year, reap incredible dividends just by continuing on the path? Sure. Are we in a position right now that's a little more volatile, that it could crumble beneath me if I am not careful how I run this company on the back end? We've been close to that in the last couple of years.
I think a lot of people sort of teeter on that in some way, unless you're like C-bum or you're a rocket ship.
And the thing is, 5 years ago, that didn't bother me. I have a lot more at stake now.
You have a lot more to lose.
A lot more. My wife quit her job to help me run the company. We lost her pension and her salary and all of that.
Got a family now.
We have nothing other than this.
Yeah.
And I have my children to protect. And it's my job to figure that out. And I'm very well aware that
it's heavy.
It's not only heavy, but I'm also very aware that for all the reasons that I am the reason that this is so good, I'm also the reason that it is not better than it should be or could be. I'm well aware of that.
Is this because you like to control things? Like you're kind of a control freak?
Yes. But also I legitimately do not have either the knowledge or the capacity to solve this problem, at least right now. I don't have the contacts or the knowledge, and I don't know how to get it, and I don't have the money to invest in those things, and I'm at my wit's end in my capacity to manage things because of a number of reasons, and the infrastructure needs to be cleaned up, and we're currently in a process of cleaning a lot of that up.
What are some challenges that you have doing that right now?
Immediate needs versus long-term investment potential in fund allocation. Mm-hmm. People are like, oh, you got to invest in this for this. I'm like, or I could pay my mortgage. I know that I should do this.
Yeah.
I am not in a position all the time. And I know this sounds very hypocritical because I bought a fucking DeLorean. I bought that 2 years ago with a small amount of cash, and I have a payment. But also, if I were in the current position that I'm in right now, would I purchase that 2 years ago? Probably not. Am I going to get rid of it tomorrow? No. Am I going to solve this problem? I sure hope so. Mm-hmm. We're not at risk of like going out of business, but it was very easy on that upswing pre-COVID to be so cavalier and assume that the money was always rolling in front of where I was going, and to grow and take and grow and take. And that was very easy to do. And all of a sudden things changed, and I was not prepared for that. And a mess started to happen in the other direction. And it only actualized after it had become a much larger mess. Mm-hmm. And so I've been slowly cleaning up the mess. So at the same time that I'm still trying to pursue more for this company.
Right. So like is the challenges more on an operational side? Is it more on a marketing side?
Marketing.
Is it a sales side?
Yeah, marketing.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have a fucking clue. Instagram's not the thing anymore. I can't navigate TikTok effectively because I'm not 12. Mm-hmm. I keep getting shadow banned on Instagram for no reason at all. I lost my old account that had 10 times as many followers as I have now organically that I used to communicate with. I got hundreds of DMs a day on my old account.
Yeah.
And one day I just disappeared and couldn't log into that account and couldn't respond to people and tell them what happened. We had customers after a year away from that personal account start to contact the company or call the office or do whatever to check on my well-being because they thought that I had a mental breakdown.
Oh no. Oh, almost.
I can't even imagine.
But these are customers. These are people who are probably
long-term customers that thought that I just disappeared and abandoned these conversations. And I can't even, people are like, man, how much money do you think you've lost over the years losing that account? I don't know. Too fucking much. I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
Because that happened, and post-COVID, economy, the world falling apart, all the fucking ways that it has fallen apart, all that happened at the same time. And things have progressively been more stressful since then.
Mm-hmm. Is this a bit of sort of like your hard stance and your political views and your outspokenness? Did you kind of
I have decreased a lot of that substantially because of that.
Because you keep on getting your hand slapped.
Yeah,
You're letting the communists win.
Motherfuckers.
Well, you know what? Eventually I have to concede and pay my bills. So
yeah,
I'm trying to still always be the virtuous asshole that I've always been known to be, and the outspoken asshole, and also not rock the boat so much that it affects my ability, again, to protect my family. And I've already caused that damage, and I'm aware of that, and I'm trying to not allow myself to fuck that up as much anymore. But there's also avenues that I need to explore more, such as TikTok, such as, these things that I don't have the capacity to right now. Mm-hmm. I just don't. I'm
Speaking
one
of
person.
which, do you have the videos for this episode's section of That's Bullshit?
All right, that's bullshit.
This is going to make you cringe, man.
We had actually some person do a submission.
I have to watch videos.
Someone submitted one?
Yeah. Someone said you got to check this one out, and it's a good one.
Said I have to?
This is from True Height Vitamins.
So let's just. Not everyone knows what this is.
I already hate this video because of what he's saying right there.
That's bullshit.
I already hate it.
That's bullshit is a segment where we pick a few TikTok videos and we try and break them down and try and determine whether or not they're bullshit or not.
If you want him to pause at any point in the video, just tell him.
And make sure you turn it up. So
the fact that he has the word grow in this before I even watch the video, I already hate this video.
What is your guess on what this is about?
It's a height increasing supplement.
Oh, it is True
Joey,
Height.
remember we saw this?
Is this what this is?
We saw this at Expo West, and we...
is this to make kids grow? Take
Take
these vitamins.
My monster grow!
Take these vitamins and this amino acid or this bullshit, and you grow.
I'm firmly buckled in.
Say it's too late for me to grow. True Height says different. If you're anywhere from the ages 5 to 24, True Height has got you covered. This
Pause.
nutritional protein...
This guy already looks like he has Down syndrome.
5 to 24? 5 to 24?
If you are look at the picture here. There's a little kid with his mom measuring him
He's
against
gonna
the
grow.
wall.
He's gonna grow.
Oh my
A
God.
5-year-old's gonna grow anyways.
It has 16 grams of protein in
Jesus
it.
Christ, fucking God! I hate this
By
whole
the way,
fucking
16
industry.
grams of protein will make sure
Cup
you
and
get the
spoon.
right
First of all,
nutrients.
he was stirring it to the left with his right hand. That is automatically wrong. It drives me insane. What is he doing?
Well, he could have the phone reversed in mirror mode, you know?
Either way, it doesn't matter. If you're right-handed, you got to stir it this way. That's the rule. There's no universal rules except for that one, and he's ruining it. And his face is terrible.
Just offer up the delicious protein powder. They also have these gummies that support bone
He's gonna need a little more fuel for the fire on this one.
I hate this whole industry sometimes. I'm out of this. Fucking God.
the day. They taste amazing, and you'll be well on your way. Now, the Maxide kit doesn't end there because we all know there's one major thing that's conducive to one's physical development, and that's getting optimal sleep. These sleep gummies will make sure you're rested at night, getting that peace you've always wanted. Growing has never been so fun. Check out True Height now.
All right, growing has never been so fun. Growing, bro. Growing.
I'm sure Pfizer's Viagra has something to say about
Listen,
that.
I am a grower, not a shower, so I will say that growing in some contexts is certainly more fun, but not in the way he is because his face is terrible and these products
It's
are terrible.
literally called Kids Growth Protein Shake.
We saw this at Expo West, and
True Height. True Height Sleep.
There is a lot of stuff in their literature that didn't have asterisks on them. There were no indications.
we've already
to
unlocked
study.
So they're
discount.
non-compliant. They're made in a non-compliant facility. The gummies probably have nothing in them because they're gummies.
They're making very,
What's
very
the
strong.
Let us appreciate
Wait, these
before we
gummies are
criticize.
$30 a bottle for gummies. $30.
$36 is the landing
the
cost
protein.
on
Two
the,
scoops
For
to get
15
16 grams.
What is the source? Oh, the first look at the other ingredient. Wait, hold on, wait.
Unpack this.
Hold on. Oh, good grief. It says other ingredients, which would indicate more than just what the protein is. But the protein is listed in the other, which means it's not a primary ingredient. And the first ingredient is maltodextrin, and the second one is whey protein.
If I'm not mistaken, isn't this formatted as a nutritional facts panel?
no, because the calories would in the new format, the calories would be large.
Right, but with your other ingredients,
With the other ingredients having the primary ingredients in it.
that is an
Right.
ingredients panel, not an other ingredients
So
panel.
it's kind of like hybrid nutritional
how could
It's
it
facts.
be?
and
definitely
stuff.
incorrect.
Yeah.
And I mean,
No,
it's got more. It's got more.
It's got
not
carbs than
deviate.
protein because it's
Yeah.
got maltodextrin.
The first
it's not
ingredient's
listed
malto.
as a meal replacement. This reminds me of like a bastardized packet meal replacement from like the fucking Myoplex
Yes,
days
Metarex.
back in the Metrix days.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah.
It's got inositol. The spacing on it's fucked, but they got inositol.
But look at
Whey
the dose.
protein
Look at
isolate after
first of all, why does it
flavor.
have inositol in this product? What the fuck is it doing? And why is it that
125
what is it?
milligrams?
Arbitrary dose. It's not even 100. It's not even a round number. What is 125 milligrams of inositol? It's
Not shit.
It's a bullshit fucking dose. I hate everything.
What about that
this.
250 milligrams of taurine?
Well, I heard taurine would give you a heart attack because it was in energy drinks,
Oh,
right?
for
Isn't that the
fuck's
thing?
sake.
Yeah. This upsets me.
Twelve
Can we
fifty
skip to the next one? There's, you have another one, right?
Yeah,
We
there's
have
three
like
of
three
them.
or four
Yeah.
of them.
Fuck,
Wait,
I have
we
to
got
sit through 4 of these?
Yeah.
I want to see
We haven't
these
got to the
bone
gummies yet. We haven't got to the gummies yet.
Two gummies I want to know. No, we're not taking the height quiz, Eduardo.
I thought this was
Take
going
the
well.
height quiz. Take the height quiz.
There's a height quiz?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
All right,
I thought
Ben,
this.
your answers, okay?
Can I be honest? I thought this was going well, and now I think this might be the worst podcast I've ever been on because of this segment right now.
Or another
This is
drink.
actually the best part.
This is why people love it.
Where is the non-binary or the agendered
Just pick a
selection
gender.
here?
Just pick a gender.
What if I don't? What if I don't want to pick a
It's
gender?
what? Oh God! All right, female.
Why do we ask a question? I'm asking myself the same question about why. No, don't please don't. I don't care. I don't care. Male, click male and just fucking go. Just go. I really don't care why they're asking.
All right. How old are you?
Let's go 25 years
25 and older.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead.
Yeah. Based on your input, it's likely that your growth
Oh
plates have closed already.
no! It's
So
too
when he
late.
said 5 what did he say? 5 to 24-year-olds?
Yeah.
So, but when you're 25 and up, you stop growing at 25, not at 24.
Why
though.
do they even give you the option if they're going to tell
Because
you
it
you're
shoots you.
fucked?
Because it shoots you down.
Well, I mean, you're fucked.
But why 25
I don't even think that's true. There's plenty of people that grow after that.
in height at 25?
I don't fucking know. I'm sure there's
an outlier.
Freaks, yeah.
There's 8 billion people. I'm
So
sure
this
there
is an
are.
arbitrary number, you're saying? It's arbitrary. It's not scientifically.
This whole,
Right.
everything about this brand is arbitrary.
What is your current height? 5'10". You're 5'10", 5'11"?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
in
What do you-
inches.
I have a
inches.
whole story about that, but I'm not going to share. We could talk about that. I'm currently, I currently identify as a 5'9" individual. We'll go with that.
69 inches.
We'll go with that.
He's a 69 incher.
Okay. What is your mother's height?
Fuck.
We'll go 64 inches tall and 84 inches wide.
What's your father's
She's not going
height?
to watch this. She's just, what's my father's height? 73 inches.
You got a hormone condition?
Have you ever been diagnosed with a
You got a
medical
funky
condition that affects
pituitary
growth?
gland?
Are we basing this off me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're
I don't
answering this.
have. So I don't have one of these disorders, but I was born with a bone growth condition in my right leg, and I had to have.
you
I
have
was
the
born.
rickets?
I was born with posterior bowing of the right tibia and fibula, and so my right
Kinda rickets.
lower leg bones are shorter and bowed backwards, and my right foot is a whole size smaller. And when I was 14, I had growth stunting done on my left leg to help even them out, and so I am supposed to be like 6'2". And I'm not, which is why I'm so broad and why I look tall in photos because I present like a 6 foot tall person. But
Don't
I am,
worry, these guys will
but I
help
have,
you.
But I have stomach. These will help lengthen my legs.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Let's do this. I'll take 2 servings. Let's do this.
Yes, so let's go with yes. Let's go with yes.
Yeah, we'll go with yes. This is fun. Yeah.
So how would you rate the quality of your
I mean,
nutrition and healthcare?
He's Morphogen Ben. It's excellent.
I'm Morphogen Ben. Yeah, I get 3 hours of sleep a night and party all weekend and eat some pizza. Let's do this.
currently taking any growth-related supplements?
Or medications?
You know what's weird is like these will be illegal in the state of New York, California, and Massachusetts at the end of the month.
No, I bet they still ship anyways.
Yeah.
Any growth related supplements or medications?
Are you taking any growth-related?
Do I have to answer this question?
No, he is not
So,
taking
so
any.
here's the thing. I'm currently rehabbing a torn hamstring. I'm currently taking some
TB
peptides, some TB and some BPC and some Sermorel. So put yes on here. Fuck it. Let's do this. Yeah.
Do you engage in regular physical
Yeah, we'll go with this.
activity?
Yeah, we'll go with this.
Yeah. Have you experienced any significant growth spurts in the past?
In the past, hasn't
quite a
everybody?
few.
Hasn't everybody?
I think so.
In the past, what does this mean?
I guess
we,
if you're 5 and you're filling out this quiz,
we have all experienced growth spurts in the past. Yes, the answer is yes. I'm not entering my fucking email.
No.
Foiled.
All right,
Foiled.
get us to the goddamn gummies.
put in your email, Dordo.
I hope you get emails forever.
I really
because
hope
of
you
this.
do. I hope you follow up with a screenshot of whatever
Contact
email
at
they sent.
priceplow.com.
Yeah, Ben at priceplow.com.
He does like gummies.
Perfect.
My God. Is that his email for real?
Yes.
Oh, you need the whole kit. Who'd have
Max
thought?
height
Who'd
kit.
have thought?
$89, $89.90 billed monthly.
So listen.
course.
So listen.
You get 2
I
different
got
types of gummies.
$30 if we're sending one of these to Ben. I'm just saying.
Okay.
If you guys want to go in and get one,
He's gonna
we
love
all
getting
throw in
this
$30. I mean,
I have his address. He could do like a
just
takedown.
saying. I got
he could do like a takedown.
I got $30 on Ben's growth because he's not tall enough for sure.
Let's just move on.
Hit select.
Are we really going to do this? We're going to send Ben a kid's growth.
Can we
It's
please? Can we please? Can we please?
$102 off. Okay. Yeah. Let's buy it. Okay.
All right.
This is not fucking worth it.
I hope to God he gets this before
Here, hold
this podcast comes out. And
Well, it
wonders-
comes out Tuesday, so probably not. But he'll still be. Oh, sorry, I kicked the camera. He'll still be like, "What the fuck?"
All right. I will Apple Cash you $30.
Hold on. Let me get you his.
All right, this is all I got. There we go. That's gonna have to be enough.
Here, I'm gonna show you on the iPad his address, so you can don't
This makes up for having
record
to-
it on the thing.
This makes up for
Okay.
me. This makes up for having to review this site.
Oh, yeah. He's not going to watch the podcast and it's going to show up at his door. And
I
it's
know.
gonna be
Well, I
like,
hope so. That's the point. I hope he fucking takes it down. I hope he has a whole video about it.
I don't know who sent this to me.
That is a dope background.
Okay. His address is right there.
Maybe we should have sent the growth kit to Ryan instead of Ben.
I mean, either one is funny.
They're all funny.
Oh, and he's going to get emails. You'd be like, why am I getting these emails?
Yeah. He's going to show up at his door. He's got the max growth kit.
Fantastic.
He's going to love the
For
gummies.
5 to 24, he's going to eat the gummies. He's going to eat them.
He's going to be butthurt. He's going to be like, why did they think that I got this? Why did I think I need this? And then we'll go on to the next one. That's hilarious.
You know there's not enough calcium in 2 gummies to fucking do shit.
Are you convincing me?
No, I'm just like,
There's not enough of anything to do shit. Period.
no.
You can't even fit enough space in them with
No.
the gummy material to do anything.
What they're
Even
claiming
if they were
simply
solid
isn't
fucking
possible.
rocks of calcium.
What science are they going off of? Like, is there a clinical study that's determining this at all?
Do you think, based on anything you've seen on the labels,
True height sleep. True height sleep.
Do you think
I'm asking you
any-
because you two are the guys who would know.
the answer is
First of all, I don't give a
no.
fuck about looking at studies in children because all of our products are for people age
For not
healthy
children.
adults,
Yes,
18
I'm
and
not
older.
a children's brand. I do have a great idea for a product that I'll share
Okay.
with you. That
Okay.
I think is a great idea, but I just haven't been able to do it yet.
He should get it by Tuesday morning, which this goes out Tuesday.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
No, I think we need to make a dollar store RTD brand called Booty Juice with the bottle that's in the shape of butt, and it's got a little creatine in it.
A custom bottle that's shaped like an ass.
Booty Juice,
Booty juice.
fruit punch flavored. Probably would not test to have any creatine in it because it'd be so acidic. But it's a dollar store brand. Just come get it. Get it for $1. Get your Booty Juice for $1. Available at Family
people
Dollar.
would buy it out
Dollar
of
Tree.
novelty.
What would you put on a product called Booty Juice that would give you
Fiber.
some semblance of peace at night?
Peace at night.
Yeah.
No, it should be diarrhea.
Like,
It is
what-
booty juice.
if there was a product to make your booty bigger and you had to make it in a way that you could sleep at night, what would you put in it?
I would put phytoestrogens in it.
Yeah.
That would probably work in the long term.
But if it's called booty juice, I think it should elicit diarrhea.
Just as like a funny planned side effect.
Yeah, like
Makes your ass
My
bigger.
booty's bigger, but I keep
I got that juice.
It's got too much juice
Too
in
much
it.
juice.
It's coming out.
Oh God. Those are watermelon and they're brown.
and they're in the shape of
Why are
teddy
they
bears.
brown? They're physician recommended.
Bullshit. What physician?
Who's the physician? Who's their advisory board?
Dr. Oz and Dr. Pepper. Who endorsed this? Dr. Pepper?
All right. We bought it. So hopefully by Tuesday, Ben should be getting this. So hopefully by Wednesday, he has a video up. If not, I'm disappointed.
God,
in
I'm
Price
going to be
Pop.
watching the Price Plow stories.
Well, Dordo edits a lot of those anyhow, so we'll know. All right. What's the next one?
She hasn't warned you. Oh my God. I'm so ready for this.
All right. Hold on. Let me get the mic.
Do not have to wear deodorant. I have not worn deodorant in 3 years. Deodorant is not good for you. It has toxins in it. It can cause rashes and irritation. It can cause breast cancer. It has too many toxins in it for us to be using every single day. Sis, all you need to do is take deodorizing pills. That's it. The deodorizing
fuck?
pills contains things in it that we need daily to deodorize our body. We were not meant to wear deodorant. I take these every single day. I don't have bad breath. I don't stink. I barely sweat, and I do not need deodorant. I haven't worn deodorant in 3 years. Get you some.
I want to know what the fuck does bad breath have to do with fucking.
Get you some.
I have a feeling that I know what is in this.
All right. Let's take a crack at it. What's in it, Joey?
I mean, there's at least chlorophyll of some form.
Oh, Blair. Blair thinks she knows.
Yeah, chlorophyll.
Yeah, Blair probably takes it.
Yeah, but that doesn't stop BO. There's a bacterial population that lives on your skin that causes that. That's a whole different deal.
Well, let's go to it. What's it called? What's the product what's the product? It's called, what is the one that she's talking about?
There it is. There it is.
What is that called?
That's a
Brad?
vaginal
odor
odor bundle.
bundle.
What is that brand
God.
called?
Love Wellness. Good Girl Probiotics.
Didn't we talked about this last time?
Is that literally called Good Girl?
It wasn't?
There's no way that this can be it. Go back to the video.
She was holding up a blue bottle that you
Yeah,
couldn't tell what it was.
Yeah,
Is this it?
Just go to like.
Where's the link?
Go to like three
Hold on.
quarters in.
Go to her profile because
There
she's
you
got to
go.
have a
Deodorizing pills contain.
like an affiliate link or something. Scroll
Right,
down.
right.
No.
Stop. It just works deodorant. That's what it is.
It just works deodorant.
Don't ask questions. It just works.
I'm going to ask the fucking questions, god dang. Comments, low key, when I wear deodorant, my armpits be itchy.
It be burning my armpit. Thought I was tripping.
Yes, my deodorant.
I think I'm a stick with deodorant.
No pun intended. Or pun intended.
Go to like search for it. Just
This
works
is
deodorant.
absolutely awful UGC because I have no idea what she's promoting.
Yeah, she didn't do that.
I don't
well.
think
Good
she
of a
knows
job.
either.
She's got over 1 million views,
God, on that video.
just in general.
Well, I don't, whatever.
Well, you can see how many is on the video too.
She doesn't even have a link, but she's also got an apple cider gummies link.
2.4 million likes.
See, it just works deodorant. I'm telling you, man.
No, it's not. No, because it's a pill.
I mean, any deodorant could be
she
that. With
she has no affiliate link listed anywhere
it
for
just
you to
works
know what the
deodorant
product
pill.
is.
Body deodorizing. It just works up there, top right there.
yeah,
$89. $89.
But it's not. It's not the same bottle.
it's not. Who the fuck cares?
I mean, they could have just put a
Supplement
different one.
facts.
God.
Let's see what's in it. Organic parsley.
Yeah, chlorophyll. Yeah, there you go.
Now, parsley is used for breath. That is an ancient remedy brought down through time.
They
That's
specifically use 200 milligrams
And
Fuck if I know.
Probably not.
Arbitrary dose. Sodium.
because it's not an extract. It's a
powder.
It's a bulk material.
Yeah.
That is literally an inconsequential amount of parsley to consume.
Yes.
Orally
Extremely.
to do anything.
well,
yeah.
we don't even know. So there's sodium, copper, chlorophyll, 200 milligrams.
You know what bothers me is the lack of calling out of the copper amount in this.
Well, not only or either. Well, copper could be toxic, but if you're looking at, if you're like, 200 milligrams, how much of that is sodium? How much of that is copper? And how much of that is actual
it's actually
chlorophyll?
pretty insignificant. It's mostly chlorophyll because chlorophyll's big as fuck.
But if you have 3 milligrams of copper,
Third ingredient, organic
You're
peppermint
probably
leaf.
looking at about 15% is going to be minerals.
Peppermint leaf would just be for the taste and for
I
the,
would hope
the
that out of
brand,
that 15%, the copper's on the low end, because if you're looking at 3 milligrams and up, you're looking at potential toxicity.
You are
from
looking
one
at
product.
yes. And that is extremely likely with this product. There is way too much fucking copper in here.
It
Well,
just
you know what?
works.
The person buying this is probably also buying Liver King's liver pills that are and eating liver with copper and probably getting copper toxicity. So
Or not to mention the vitamin A associated with that as well.
Other ingredients, hyperpropyl methyl cellulose and magnesium
So,
stearate.
It's a veggie cap.
it's a veggie cap. That's it.
And it's got some flow agent in it.
Yeah, standard fare.
I don't believe that she hasn't used deodorant in 3
I just want to know how the
years.
fuck is this $90 because this really costs like $2 to make.
Yes, if that.
This costs $2
There's
to
got to
make.
there's got to
They're
be a
selling it for
base. There's got to be a
$90.
base
Ben,
of
this is-
$4 in manufacturing costs
I want
for
you
the
to know.
plastics and the label, and then a $2 upcharge on manufacturing.
It's a 3-pack. It's a 3-pack.
Oh.
Let's temper
but
ourselves.
even so, you're looking at
$12.
at let's say this product costs $6 to make, and that's being generous. Let's say $6
is this
to
a more
make.
advanced? Or no, is this the same?
No, that's the individual cost is $30.
So you're looking at a 5x markup individually, and you're looking at a 4.5x markup on a bundled deal.
This might be what you're doing wrong with your business.
You're not lying enough to people, Ben.
This guy's got a boat.
Yeah. 2,232
You've
reviews.
got a car payment on a DeLorean. You won't be a shyster like this fucking guy.
This dude's got a lake house.
Listen, I have had friends, very affluent friends, who have told me that me and them should do something like this, unbeknownst to anybody in the industry.
Just a little shyster
just to make
bake
some
sale.
money.
Yeah.
Just to make some money. And I literally do not know how this works. I don't know.
It doesn't.
I don't.
It says it just works,
But even
but
when
it doesn't.
But even when you're looking at like long form
be an asterisk.
content, you know, those endless scrolling pages, right? Even those things that work unequivocally, they work in that area. I have no idea how it actually works. All I
You
can do is
need to
have the
have
product
really
made.
good photos.
I automatically lose. I'm not.
You need to be able to do this for people
that photo looks great. I don't
in
have that.
4 interest-free installments. So that way, you know, you could pay this $5 at a time.
We have Sezzle on our site, so we could do some installments there.
Look at all these reviews. It's great.
Well, obviously it's UGC and some sort of like landing page click funnel.
Michelle L, a real person, I promise, made this review.
None of these people are real.
Reviews are always fake. I hate them. This is terrible. God.
Is it bullshit?
Well, at least with bullshit, you know that it is shit from a bull, and you know what you're getting. With this one, I think it's worse than bullshit.
It's what the fuck.
This one's potential copper toxicity in a product that costs 10 times.
In theory, it
make.
works. In execution, it gives people copper toxicity.
The question
I don't
is
know about in theory.
in order to get it to work, what would the doses actually need to be? Because you need, if you're looking at parsley, what are the active compounds that do that? There's no idea.
The chlorophyll is like part of it. The parsley, it needs to be like an extracted oil. So there are parsley supplements that do work, but it's entirely the volatile compounds of the plant. It's not just a leaf powder like they've
Correct.
got in
And
this
so that's
one.
what I'm saying is from a dose perspective.
No.
If we're assuming that this is a middle of the road standardized parsley, which it's probably not, but let's just say that it is, how many servings would you need to be efficacious? 10?
Hundreds, perhaps.
Hundreds of servings. How many grams of parsley are we talking here? Like an ounce of parsley?
Well, we're talking the extracted volatile compounds, which make up a remarkably small percent composition of the
of
entire
a bulk.
parsley
And
plant.
if we're looking at those 200 milligrams of parsley and 30 servings, we're looking at a fifth of an ounce.
Pounds.
A
It could
fifth of
take
an ounce.
pounds of parsley.
So you are looking at hundreds of servings.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, that product at its best is probably good at deodorizing the GI tracts. Maybe your shit doesn't smell as bad, but there are other ingredients that do a better job of that. I talked about making a product that deodorizes cat shit for people who have litter boxes from the same principles.
What would the route of administration be for the cat?
Like some sort of a treat you just like squeeze out like a ketchup packet on top of their food.
You think a cat is going to eat some sort of squirt material on top of their food?
My cat does it every day.
They eat catnip.
My cat's not going to do that.
What if it's like tuna flavored?
Well, yeah, my cat would do that for sure.
Well, see, there you go. That's how you do it.
Rotisserie chicken flavored. My cat would
It's
fucking
like
eat that shit.
getting your kids to eat their vegetables. Just put some cheese on that shit. Just tuna flavor,
Yeah.
that chlorophyll, and then all of a sudden, presto changeo, your cat's litter box does not smell as bad.
I am a pro at hiding shit in my kids' food. A pro.
Cat shit.
Vegetables and shit.
Oh,
I'm the dad that would take fish oil gel caps and cut the tip off with some
clever as fuck.
kitchen shears and squirt it into their whole milk and whisk it up, or into their yogurt and whisk
I'll
it
put
up.
a little bit of
That'll
creatine
emulsify.
and a little bit of
Yeah.
a little bit of choline in like a
Yeah.
protein shake. My kid will drink that.
Yeah.
all right. What's our next one?
And he's smarter than me.
To this friend because this one brings the 5 types of collagen, and I'm going to be telling you which one is which. So type 1 is the most common one. This one is the one that makes 90% of our hair, our nails, our organs,
Hair?
bones, and ligaments. And it also supports healthy, youthful looking skin. Type 2 helps with cartilage and to maintain healthy gut. Also supports
Wrong.
joints and digestive health.
I would
and
love to see what
promotes
source
immune
they're using
function
for
as well.
type 2
Now,
on this.
Type 3 supports skin and bone health.
Because regular generic bovine, you're going to get
and type
all the
4
others.
and 5, these are like the less abundance in our body. Type 4 forms cell membranes and placenta tissues. Type
What
5
the
helps
fuck?
to form bones. Collagen also has biotin, vitamin C, and hyaluronic acid, and the amounts that it actually brings, it's really good for the 2 scoops that it needs to take on a daily basis. GMO free, this is grass fed.
I doubt it.
Pasture raised. And I honestly recommend the 2-pound
Grass-fed, because the fatty acids that are not ending up in the collagen
this
matter.
has no flavor,
Drives
so
me
you can add
nuts.
it to your coffee, to your tea.
I think
to your
grass-fed
smoothies,
protein is a whole load of
you can even
bullshit,
take it
too.
with
Unless it's a
water.
high-fat
That's what I
yield
recommend
protein,
too.
it literally
Or
doesn't
I just
matter.
mix
But
it.
usually that's a whey
Nonsense.
isolate.
It's a nonsensical marketing
Yes.
thing.
At least
I personally prefer this one than the other one because I've seen better results not only on my energy levels but my joints.
get the fuck out of here
Here's
with
the
your
thing.
energy levels.
I want to see the price. I'm okay with some of what she has said. I'm okay with it.
Well, type
I want
2
to
is.
I want to see the price.
She's wrong with type 2.
I know
flat out.
I know she's wrong, and also I want to see the sources of this. This has to be a multi-source collagen product. What do you
There
think?
it is.
What do you think? What are the ingredients?
$34.95, not bad on the price point.
It's
What
not
the
that one.
fuck?
What do we think?
Yeah, it
is,
is.
What do we think is the? What do you think is the ingredient makeup? Marine collagen.
No, I actually think this is bovine and poultry based entirely.
Well, it has to have poultry because the 2 in there. That's going to be the only.
And I think the 4 and the
source.
5
You
are from
don't get
eggs.
2 from bovine at all.
Wait, other ingredients, none.
There's bovine, chicken, and marine, and eggshell.
And the reason I said marine is because of the branding and
but
the
there's
marketing.
only 10 grams in all 4.
You ever
of
seen a
those.
grass-fed fish?
I will say I do like the eggshell membrane collagen, but it needs to be at least half a gram.
Yeah.
And upwards. That's another one that when you're looking at licensed ingredients, there's a licensed eggshell membrane protein that is wildly expensive that
Wild.
is out there. And then you can get generic, which is the same shit for a fraction of the cost, and it's still cool.
Still the same
It's
thing.
still cool.
So you only get 10 grams. So you're getting about 2.5 grams if they're split evenly.
I mean, the hyaluronic acid doesn't need to be in there, but if it is going to be in there, it could be higher. The biotin, I'm a little conflicted on because
Why the fuck is it down there?
well, not only why is that in vitamin C down there, but the biotin is something that
Vitamin C is in the
can
wrong place.
backfire on people,
Yeah.
and I think it should be a standalone ingredient if people want to use it, because for some people it can make things worse. As a collagen product, if this were half the price, I could maybe be okay with it.
Right, you get 82 servings. What are you
Half-
talking about? 82 servings.
At $50.
So
So
but collagen is dirt cheap.
yeah,
And it's a prop blend, so you don't know what you're getting. Especially with the eggshell, I guarantee there's 5 milligrams in there because that's the most expensive, even as a
I
generic.
think there's 5 milligrams of everything below bovine collagen.
I would agree.
interesting.
Although bulk chicken collagen peptides, not like a branded UC2 or something, are still relatively cheap and
Yeah.
still worthwhile.
Other ingredients, none. So it's unflavored. 339 reviews, $49.95.
Bet it tastes like livestock.
I don't like when companies use something like a bovine plus a marine in the same product because it's
You guys should
it's
buy
a redundant source of
Core
the same
Culture
things.
collagen because it's just collagen and it's 20 grams. That's it.
How many servings?
15,
What's your price point?
$24.99.
No, that's an automatic no.
Why not?
That's too expensive for the servings.
$24.99 for 20 grams.
15 servings, yeah. These guys are selling 82 servings for $50.
Maybe.
They're going to beat the shit out of you.
Even if you doubled it, 40 servings for $50. That's still
Well, we're twice as much as the dosing, so it evens out the same.
yeah. It's all pretty consistent.
Yeah.
The thing is there's only so far you can go with a collagen type product. To me, it's in the finer details of the extra ingredients that potentially don't matter, and also the final way that it's marketed that I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't think collagen is magic. I do think it's a worthwhile investment at a marginal cost as a commodity product, but not as this overwhelming hyped.
Yeah. It's not the star of the show.
If it is going to be the start of the show, at least bolster it with enough extras in the right doses of extras that it becomes something more than a commodity product.
Do you guys have a collagen?
We do.
Do you have all the extra stuff?
We have the eggshell membrane in
Cool.
there. We have a little bit of extras, but it's not like as far as you guys went with yours. But
That
it's
one didn't sell.
also not the same price point because collagen is not valued as a premium
No.
price point product. And I understand the utility of that and can still make a high quality collagen product that is actually usable and sellable by people.
I mean, maybe if it was sold by like a really fancy cosmetics company, but not a sports nutrition.
I did not know that you ought to.
But even if it was sold by that, it wouldn't be valued for the totality of the formula anyways. It would be all
It
the
would
other
be the
factors.
chicks on TikTok pushing it.
Yes, and it would have 55 milligrams of hyaluronic acid in there,
Womp, womp.
Is that it?
which didn't even tell the source of that hyaluronic
Oh,
acid.
apparently it has more. Oh, wait. There's more.
If I wanted to grow my pencil size, I wanted to
All right, start it over again. Hold on. Let's do it.
Oh my god. Having a fucking dick pop up right in the beginning of that is not what I was expecting at all. I'm in. I'm buying whatever they're selling. Let's do this. Oh my god, the photo.
Increase the blood flow to my pencil. If I wanted to naturally double my testosterone
Oh my
levels,
god,
Pause
the
for a
AI
second.
generated photos. No.
This is how they don't get sued. And they say to increase the size of your pencil. Your pencil.
You gotta have more lead in your pencil.
Your Honor, I was talking about a pencil.
I was talking about a pencil with these AI generated images of Dan Bilzerian and whatever else they got in here.
One of those was pretty graphic. What was that?
grow my pencil size.
That's not a pencil.
Sam, what is
What
that?
is this? What
What
is
is
this?
that?
It's the man's pet alien.
What is this photo?
Isn't this what you aspire to be? That dick has eyes on it. It has eyes and a mouth.
Look at the vein on that fucker.
Is that a vein or is that a throat for the fucking prey?
I'll be honest. If I could be as happy as this guy looks, if I could
He's having a good time.
If I needed two hands,
He's cradling his unit like it's a baby.
with two hands, bro. 2 hands.
Who masturbates like this?
This is Jeff Bezos.
Not me.
Oh Jesus Christ! What is this shit?
Horse chestnut.
Is that all it is?
Naturally double my
Just hold on.
testosterone levels to attract more women and look more masculine. I would take Tonkat Ali. If I wanted to be more motivated to go to the gym and get absolutely maxed out stats, I would combine L-tyrosine and caffeine. If I wanted all of these at the same time, I would simply upper deck a King Dip pouch.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
This is our dude Rob Oliver, man.
God,
Is it really?
Rob's coming on the
this
podcast.
is an AI generated ad. That's why this is so amazing. It's amazing, amazing.
It's a buccal delivery system of a festival of very underdosed everything. But it'll make the size of your pencil grow to an alien creature that is attached to you at your penis part.
Who put official alpha grind? This is Rob Oliver, dude. He's coming on this podcast.
Here's the thing.
Is this really him?
Yes.
Yes, this is his new brand.
Yeah.
So we gotta hate him and love him at the same time?
Well,
Or-
personally, I do like the guy. Like, I think he's hilarious.
Will you
but-
guys ask him if I can give him some money and not have anybody in the industry know and have him
Boost your
return that
brand?
money 10x to me? But I don't want anybody to know. I don't need my image to be tarnished. But if I could pay for my kids' college with this, like,
you don't mind being a skeezer on the side.
as long as nobody knows, nobody say anything.
We can get you in touch. We can get you.
All of you guys listening, don't say anything. I have children to feed, and if you care about my children, you would allow me to scheme people.
If you
through this.
care about Ben's children, you'll grow your
And
pencil.
if you care about two-handing
Well,
your member,
let's look at the formula just for the sake of it. I mean,
It's gonna be trash.
that wasn't his penis. That was the xenomorph from the new Alien movie that they're making.
It looks kind of friendly. Did you see the face on that thing?
The dude looked happy as fuck that this thing was coming out of his body.
I love how he has the dip.
King dip. You used to have fun dip for kids, and you got king dip for adults.
Wait, go to the comparison chart. Let's see what's in this King Dip. Non-addictive. What's in it?
That's L-tyrosine. You can make an argument for addictive. Dopamine boost, maybe.
In dip format.
It probably doesn't absorb very well.
It's not going to absorb at all. You're going to swallow it.
Oh, of course you're going to swallow.
But what else is in here that is?
Wait, there it was.
Tomcat Ali.
It's proprietary.
Of course it is.
Go to the back of the thing. Second image.
But the question is what of these
There it
ingredients
is.
is actually
Cellulose
absorbing?
powder, natural flavor,
Is
L-tyrosine,
actually absorbing
caffeine,
through your mouth versus
horse chestnut,
swallowing it. Caffeine.
Isoflavones.
That's it.
There's nothing in here.
And also, why is caffeine in this?
We're gonna have to ask Rob, like, dude. But I know he's just trying to make a bag. Like he makes no qualms about that.
Look at this.
Yes.
Cellulose,
He makes no
then
qualms about
flavor, then ingredients. Does it say the caffeine content anywhere on this tin?
No.
Per pouch?
You don't have to though.
Caffeine? Caffeine.
This isn't
Caffeine-
either a food or a supplement.
And that's how he's skirting it.
Yeah.
Of course.
He's a fucking mad genius.
That's brilliant, actually, because it's not either one of those.
This is why Rob is brilliant, though.
Yeah.
Hey, what are the odds he comes out with a topical?
He's probably already working on one.
Yeah.
For what? I mean,
We do a lot of their brands, but not his.
You want to do a topical someday, don't you?
oh, of course I do.
You ever play with DMSO?
Of course
Back
I do.
in the day?
Yeah.
Shit's wild.
Of course it is.
Shit's wild.
That's how you know it's working.
It's wild.
You taste it once it goes through your skin.
It
Wow.
also makes you a little twitchy.
How many reviews does he have on that? I just want to see.
That's
one.
old school.
You should see my formula.
Only 153 right now?
Oh, I want to read the 1 stars. These are the best. Tried it. My gum bleeds now. It tastes bad. But absolutely 0 caffeine. There's not even a label showing
Show
you how many
much
milligrams.
caffeine. Yeah.
It's one of the worst products I've tried.
Start with adding caffeine.
This is the smallest hint of wintergreen. Not a good taste at all.
The thing is he could probably actually formulate something that's pretty cool.
Probably something that actually penetrates your mouth tissues.
Yeah. Not that it
Tiny
probably doesn't
doses.
even matter though.
Pouch that gives you boners.
Oh, boner pouch, you say?
I mean,
Well, that's clearly what he's doing here.
I love the idea.
What
I would like to call it boner pouch. And then make an underwear brand that goes along with it. Also called boner pouch.
With the actual pouch that you can put your boner in.
You can put your boner in the pouch. You can put your boner pouches in the pouch in front of your boner pouch. And then you get a boner and you're like, oh, I dropped all my pouches.
It's like Inception.
It's like a bad K-hole with boners in a pouch on repeat.
All right, let's get on to the next segment.
We'll
We'll try not to bag Rob too much because he's a friend.
We
But that is complete bullshit.
we went to the vitamin shop and we asked for the 3rd best nootropic that they had.
I went there and I said, "What's your 3rd top selling nootropic that you have?" And he went to his website. He went to the computer
Because he doesn't fucking know. That
He doesn't
fucking
know.
guy.
And this is the one he picked out, and this is the one we bought.
All right, it's Force Factor and 4 Brain.
For brain.
Not foreskin, 4 Brain.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Or
you-
brain.
It's a weird
advanced. Boost thinking. Interesting claim. Increased mental energy and enhanced sharpness and focus. It is verified safe and effective on the front because what's what the experts tell us. There are 5 branded ingredients in here. Fully disclosed label panel. I'm handing this over to Ben. Ben,
Oh yeah.
enjoy.
Okay.
Who's thinking?
Thinking.
I boosted thinking by reading this.
Fuck. So there are a few. So we have like the coffee berry and the coffee green that are obviously bastardized generics of popular branded ingredients that are currently on the market. Specifically, the green coffee says standardized to caffeine.
Who knows how much?
Also, the black pepper extract is in isolation underneath a blend of ingredients, but by itself called BioBrain Plus.
But it's black pepper extract.
It's black pepper. It's BioBrain, and I question.
We talked about naming your own trademarks earlier.
When this is a way to name a category of trademarks while using a trademark of a trademark.
Guilty.
And also, I would question the validity of using this ingredient with the other ingredients in here and if it actually increases their absorption because it only works on a very limited number of ingredients. But, it's a catch-all. Absorption. Hooray. Lion's mane is in an inconsequential dose of 100 milligrams. There's no standardization of anything. Phosphatidylserine, it says 50%. I do love that as an ingredient, but that dose is a little low. The alpha GPC, 50%, 100 milligrams, also a little low, but I guess, forgive that. Cognate grape is hilarious. Standardized for anthocyanins and proanthocyanidins. As how much we know that grape extract contains these. It doesn't say how much. Of course it contains these things. Like,
don't know how much though.
Don't know how much. Bacopa 50% at 300 mgs. I do like that. I do think that one is
best thing
valid.
in there.
That's the best thing in there.
Why is that at 300? Everything else is 100. So it's
what they're hitching their wagon on.
What is it wrongly sequenced?
Don't know. And also in the vitamin mineral blend, we have a bunch of generics, and then we have a branded selenium.
Branded selenium? Of all the things.
Laumin SE1000S selenomethionine, 50 micrograms, 91 milligrams, or 91%.
I mean, you can get selenomethionine anywhere. You don't need to get a branded selenomethionine.
But also why this brand and why... If I were to use a branded selenium, I would use like an Albion or something.
Did they misorder that?
I went from the bottom.
Okay.
I didn't go from the bottom up. I started from the middle and then I went down and then I went back up.
Oh, okay. Okay, that was just confusing.
Just ignore me.
Okay.
How much did this thing cost?
I think it was...
I'm guessing the low price.
It was $52, right?
Yeah, it was like 50 something.
Okay, are you for real?
Yeah.
It was $50?
I think it was like $54.99.
2 capsule serving, 30 servings. We got some B vitamins. The Bacopa, I think, is the saving grace here. Grape extract, grapeseed extract at 250. Even if it's not branded, I think it's a fine dose. I don't think it's, one, it's cheap as shit, and 2, it's not going to contribute.
I'm pretty sure the clinical on that's a lot higher. If
we're talking about cognitive function.
For cognitive grades in general, yes.
Yeah, yes. But also I don't like the coffee berry extract.
What, the caffeine based one?
Well, so no, it says coffee berry extract.
No
Coffea arabica. That's obviously a bastardization of
Neurofactor.
Cognatic, whatever we're calling it these days. And obviously, and the green coffee as a branded ingredient, standardized caffeine. Is there a caffeine content on this label?
You're missing the Veggie Surge at the bottom.
It's Veggie Surge green coffee extract, standardized 2 caffeine.
Oh.
2 caffeine, standardized caffeine. How much caffeine out of this 50 milligrams is it standardized for? Do we have a number?
I think it's 98. I fucked with some Veggie Surge in the past.
But not listed. What's in the other?
So it says... It says this premium green coffee bean extract is standardized to a precisely dosed 50 milligrams of caffeine. So based on that,
they must have an overage.
It would lead me to believe that they put 50 milligrams worth of caffeine of however much this yield is. If you're saying 98%,
it's going to be 54 milligrams.
Yep. But it doesn't say that. It doesn't say caffeine from Veggie Surge. It says Veggie Surge, standardized to caffeine. So either way, that's where we're going with that. $52. I think if that were $21,
you still wouldn't buy it.
I still wouldn't. No. Listen, no, it's junk. If it was $12 and it had the Bacopa and it was actually in there at 50% and it was $12, well,
but
sure.
It's a bottle in a box.
It's a bottle in a box, and the box probably cost $2, and so now it costs 52 instead of 44. So that's how it works. I hate it. Next.
It's got a bad name.
I wish there was like an Antiques Roadshow where we could appraise these products.
4-Brain. You couldn't come up with anything other than 4-Brain.
It does
5-Brain.
I got a great idea, guys.
Circumbrain. 4-Brain. Oh God.
Oh God, it's ugly.
Yeah.
It should have been a white bottle. No? I mean,
I agree.
All right.
I agree. White bottle, black lid, based on what they did with the box.
Well, they did like a embossment on the box, and there's a little bit.
But there's a little bit of black on the top of the box. I would be okay with a black lid on a white bottle with a white label, but that looks.
Of course, you would.
The money's in the box, obviously.
Better than a natural bottle with a chrome lid.
I made several arguments against that.
2 things that you can't get in abundance in ready supply.
Well, I spent $54 on
forever.
Not at all.
Black and white are pretty consistent. I do like the cylindrical capsule bottles, though, all the way up.
I'll get you set up, man.
Like the 13 ounce, those ones?
Or even smaller than that, but I like the
8 ounce ones,
uniform straight up. I don't like the tapered.
No neck.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Packer bottles.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to plug anything before we end this?
No.
You want to tell people to go to morphogennutrition.com if you actually give a shit about your health and wellness?
Do I want to do that? No.
I will do it for you.
It's also just for ease. So here's the thing. Morphogen means something, but it also is one of the single worst decisions I've ever made. Because do you know how many people cannot spell the word Morphogen? And do you know having the email address Ben@Morphogen Nutrition, do you know how much that has caused me anxiety over the years? When I'm making hotel reservations and when I'm calling anything and when I'm trying to give somebody my email and I have to go MOR, P as in Paul, HOGEN, another N, UTRIOT, and then they have to fucking read it back to me and they fuck it up every time. Do you know how many times I've had to do this in 12 years?
Every time.
Enough that I want to put a fucking gun in my mouth sometimes. It's one of the worst decisions I've ever made. So anyways, so many years ago, one of our former sponsored guys, Natural Pro, who's a good friend of mine at the time, he talked about it being a takeover. And so I coined the term join the takeover. And so the website is morphogennutrition.com, but it is also mntakeover.com. And they go to the same site. And so it's much more user-friendly in that regard. But no, I don't want to plug anything.
Well, for those of you who can't spell.
From a purity standpoint, I want people to value some of the things that I said. I want them to be curious about that. I want them to ask questions. I want them to not be afraid, to start some dialogue with me, with us as a company. I want them to take some responsibility and accountability for themselves and researching what they're putting in their bodies and go to a website like mine that has a ton of information about all the ingredients and why we formulated it. I mean, it's all there. It's like, tell me about this product. All of the information is there.
It's on the website.
All of it is there. All of it.
Go read.
And they can DM you and bug you too, huh?
Please read first. But yes, they can also, but yes.
They're not going to read.
But yes.
They're going to go straight to you.
And ultimately, like I said, my primary thing is I want to be able to explain why I made the decisions that I made. And I want people to accept that. Whether or not they understand it or agree with it is irrelevant. It's the fact that I want to be known as a person who stood by their convictions and who was willing to have these conversations and explain their decision-making and why they've done all things. And if people find value in that, and if they align with that, I hope that they can find a place in their own journey to find a product that supports what they're doing or a couple products and to trust my intention in creating those products in a manner that suits them. And if that aligns properly and if it helps them and if it helps me, then fuck yes. And if there's any capacity that situation requires me to deviate from the reason that I've done this in the first place, then I don't want any part of it.
Fair.
Yes, but I certainly hope they find that value and I certainly hope that they contribute and that they find benefit because, like I said, I have kids to feed and I have responsibilities and I have all these things that I hope to accomplish. And I continue to hope to get better at being a business owner first and foremost, beyond the reasons that I've done this. But yeah, ultimately I still believe in the purity of, the reasons that people do things. And I still believe in people, in the right people, in the way that people think. And I certainly think that there's a place for me in this industry still after all these years to do the things in the way that I've done them.
I agree. Non-compromising Morphogen.
Yep.
The man of integrity. And then we're going to go film a Batman video.
Sweet. All right. We'll see you guys next time on the Supp Works podcast.